Hey guys, it's Mo in the deep end. Mom taxi duty actually got done early, which is with construction around my town. Amazing. Now, Law and Cuck does have the trial going, but let me share the screen, and you can see that there might could be an issue with the whole thing. Let me get back to where I was gonna go. Lord knows I don't know what I'm doing half the time. It is a duct tape and prayer sort of situation, but they have no audio. I'm checking their chat and it's this is their big star witness, if you will. Let's see if closed captions are unavailable because of course they are because why would law and crime be any more or less of a full and complete dumpster fire? Wait, let me see. I'm not muted. They are muted because it is law and crime, and they are apparently just well, it looks like law and crime is having a completely bad day because they are getting yelled at in their chat. Uh, yeah, since they have no audio. So let me see. While we are waiting for them to get audio, what I might do is pull up the lovely things that Murph Turf sent that will explain a lot of the things. She even did slides. Now, and we will talk about the origin of the the thumbnail cuz David is awesome. He helped with everything because look, I tried. I followed David's lovely like very informative videos and I still messed up because everyone has a talent and it's just that my talent is well, me. It is what it is. Some days we're good and some days we are just not so good. So, it definitely is not um going well for court TV at this point. Or not court TV, Law and Cuck. Whoever it is that I'm demonstratively transforming their, you know, data or whatever so they don't get upset because they're a pain in my ass. I mean, they're lovely people and I love them and I wish that they don't, turn off my house or whatever it is like freaking Amazon did. And Murph has been on top of it. She has totally been helping us figure out what is going on, the 900, different people in here. So we will do the family tree again. Yes. So I will do I'm going to pull up the family tree sort of thing because this family tree mostly, it doesn't fork. It just kind of circles, if we're honest. It is, in fact, okay, so let me share this with you guys for right now since this is still on mute. I've got my earphone in, so hopefully, in theory, once they start actually doing live feed with audio, let me see if I can blow this up a little bit or no, I think this is going to be as big as it is for now. Let me get back to where I can read it too. Well, yeah, I'm not look, y'all, you all know I don't internet at all well to begin with. But this case is basically almost like a self-defense Travis Rudolph sort of case. You have Bill Zielinski, the man on the top. Yeah, Yeah, it is muted. Court TV is in fact muted. They're getting yelled at in their comment section. It does not look like they know how to unmute themselves, so we are gonna go in. Yeah, yeah, I don't know. Look, they are having a Mo day, and let's be very honest, it is, it happens to all of us. We've got our 4th grade teacher prosecutor going on. Yeah, it is all the insanities, but to boil down this case, I'm trying to find my, messages so I can get the slides that Murph sent me because I am a genius in my own mind sometimes, part of the times, as you do. As you do. Okay, there's a bigger one. Let me see if I can open that particular one so we can all see. Stop screen, present. Let me get one. There, that we should be able to see it a little better. 1 second, I do need to take a phone call, so you can start reading the graphic, and I will be there. Y'all, it is what it is today. Yeah, my doctor's just like, "Don't forget you have an appointment," and I'm like, "Sir, I see you more than my husband sometimes." But hopefully you guys can see this a little better, but I'm going to read it for you to read it to you. So, the defendant is William Bill Zielinski. He is 46 years old. He is charged with first-degree intentional homicide. He was the owner of exotic pet and animal store and an apartment building on Main Street. 10/15/2020, exotic animals and handguns were stolen by Riley and Ashton. 10/19/2020, Bill confronted and shot Riley. The defense stated it was an accident when Riley was pulling on the shotgun as they were tussling. He is married to April Zielinski, who was the state's first witness. That's the defendant's wife. She was 47 years old. They were married for 15 years, and she filed for divorce in June 2021 because Bill was having a relationship with Tiffany Powell, the person who is on the stand right now, the most important witness of this case, and she is muted. Now, she has 3 sons, Riley, Rowan, and Riken. Riken is 11 years old and lives with his dad, but the other 2, I think, were living with her. She rented an apartment from Bill and April on Main Street, and she was dating Bill. Like, the levels of Walmart that are going on in this stream or in this is just I am trying to invigorate it as you will, and I think I've got it. Let me see if I can. That's as big as I can get it for right now, um, but let me see if I can get a hold of. Look, I know I put y'all, today is today. Have we ever been, functional? The answer is no, we have never been functional. Let me get the okay, so she's got slides too, so let me do the slides, they might be easier to read. Can you open? No, that would be too on hard. Oh, now they have audio. Okay. So let me while they're maybe they'll go back and redo audio, but we will go through these slide. these slides so we can kind of get a good handle on what the case is. So I'm gonna stop this screen and I'm going to bring up this so we get a little bit more of a clear because this case is all of the clusters and all of the Fs, if you know what I mean. So it's the state of Wisconsin versus William C. Zielinski. He is the 26 or 46-year-old defendant. 10/15/2020, there was a break-in. He sells exotic and venomous reptiles, critters, and all of the things. He is, he is so 10/15/2020, the break-in happens with all the critters and the firearms. 10/19, is the date of the shooting. 10/21, the complaint is filed, and it's the initial appearance. He's held without bond. 6/16/2023 is jury selection. Then you have, day of testimony. Timothy E. Hogan is the defense attorney, and Veronica Isherwood is the prosecuting attorney. Rabin Huber is the judge. Now, the thumbnail. the you know, Salvador, yeah, it was a I mean, she is all terrible. It is all a terrible raising. I mean, she was not a great mother, if we're going to be very honest with Tiffany. So Raymond Huber is the judge. Now, we decided last night in the stream that sort of stayed on the rails that the judge reminded us of someone, and that would be Cookie Monster because his mouth and then the ridiculously obvious hairpiece. So the main players are Bill Zielinski, the defendant, April Zielinski, the wife, uh, Riley J. Menente, who is the decedent or the victim, Tiffany Powell, who is the dead child's mother and the defendant's girlfriend, Rowan Zielinski, who is the defendant's son, and then one second. Fuck's sake. I mean, you didn't hear that. Yes, of course I am just simply being like my betters, Court TV and Lon Seward, and I'm muting my own self for reasons today. Yeah, you know, you wake up in the morning and you definitely think like, "I am gonna be on top of things today." Am I still muted, guys? Is Salvador, you're not allowed to answer. So what has come out in the trial due to the um, the medical guy who does the autopsies, the medical examiner. I knew there was a word. Thank you. According to the medical examiner, Riley had a middling level of Breaking Bad in him. Now, as we know, the Breaking Bad crystal stuff tends to make you feel invincible, aggressive, ready for a fight, things like that. So, according to Will, he charged at him while he was carrying the weapon, they got into a tussle, and the defense has done a really good job with their demonstratives and everything. The defense has been on point for this, showing where Riley's DNA was on the handgun, how it could, or not the handgun, the rifle, how it could be positioned if they were having a tussle or a brawl, if you remember the Travis Rudolph case. And you can hear on the Ring doorbell camera, Riley yelling, like, takes his shirt off and says, "Come fight me like a man." Now, the Ring doorbell camera does not capture the actual moment of the shooting, but it does show, kind of right before, and it does look like he charged both his mother and William. Now, the defendant's wife was about as, well, she was about as memorable as beige paint drying, flat beige paint. She just she seemed okay, like, woman was watching other chicks, son and putting him to bed. She had a regular bedtime for this boy. Let my husband come home with a side chick who's not even gonna do laundry, okay? Just gonna do all the Breaking Bad stuff, and then bring her son into the thing. Can I tell you how much under the bus I would be throwing him allegedly if he happened to, get into some legal trouble? And I might also, like, sign him up for some furry, affinity things, which I'm not saying I did to my HOA, but it is a temptation every day. So those are kind of the main players. We are going to hop in to we will take breaks, and as we take breaks, I will try to explain more. If you guys have questions, I will try to break and answer them, but it is all the Walmart crazy swamp meat. Yeah, I haven't even started hearing her because I paused as soon as she came up because I wanted to make sure that I was actually hearing her, but of course, I was not hearing anyone. Yeah, it's North Florida, Wisconsin, or, as I like to call America's murder mittens, because between Michigan and Wisconsin, we got some splaining to do. Not that Indiana is any better, to be very real with you, because y'all know Indiana, we we have Gary. Let me see if I can take it back to where we actually got sound. Alright, let's share. Oh, my HOA meetings. Okay, you guys, this is a terrible thing, and I'm gonna tell you because 'cause you're my friends and it's the internet, so, well, let's be real, my HOA isn't cool, so they wouldn't watch me anyway, because 'cause they're assholes. I mean, they're awesome people who deserve the power of which we gave them, and there are betters, and we should learn to live with what they get.
Objection, Your Honor. Relevance is
Okay,
there.
so this is where we came in, so I have no idea what they were going in and talking about, but this is Tiffany Powell. This is David, or I keep wanting to say David. This is William's, uh, girlfriend/side slash side piece, the mother of the decedent, and she is also being held as a guest of the state because she drew a weapon on her son. Now, she has been called by both the state and the defense, so I don't know what the state has her on for. No, I have look, I only have enough rage and petty for one main mode of my life. So, it was either the school board, the HOA, or I could yell at trials. So, I'm I'm doing the school board and I'm yelling at trials. Yeah, so this is kind of strange in that she has been on record defending William, the shooter, and it's beginning to make a lot more sense with the way the defense has made this the case that, he was hopped up, Riley was taking off his shirt, he charged at a person that was, armed already, and you find out during the previous burglary that not only were exotic and venomous pets taken, but he also stole 2 handguns. So, if I had hypothetically a methed out person running straight towards me saying, I'm gonna fight," and I had something with me and he starts fighting for possession of a weapon that I have, I mean, it's not going to be a good day in the neighborhood. It really isn't, because at that point, you're kind of playing, again, Russian roulettes. "Oh, no, Murph, you are not late. There has been an entire nearly 20 minutes that, Law and Cuck and Court TV were muted, so we've missed a lot of Tiffany Powell." Now, I think they were going over, from what I've heard from a couple other people, they were going over baby daddies and the fact that she has 14 convictions. Yeah, so, hey, look, Law and Cuck can have a mow day. Believe me, we've all had them. The internet is a weirdo,
How much time did Riley spend with you and Bill?
A lot.
and I'm still trying to work the
Was
extension that's gonna make
Riley
it
ever in the
louder.
Bill's car with you and Bill?
Yes.
Was that a pretty regular occurrence?
Yes.
Was Rowan ever in Bill's car?
Yes.
Bill's car had
Um,
a lot of
you know what? Court TV wouldn't be muted because they never show the daggone trial. It's 873 ads for ED and a Ram truck. Yeah, well, look, the entire cast of characters have been mainly
stuff in the
guests of the
attachment,
state.
Yes.
kind of messy.
Yeah.
What sort of stuff was in Bill's car?
Uh, I'm not sure.
Did you see any weapons in Bill's car?
In the glove box, there was knives.
Did you ever see any guns in Bill's car?
Yes.
What kind of guns?
Uh, there was a handgun and uh, the shotgun.
When you say the shotgun, is that
Okay, y'all, this man was loaded for bear, okay? He had like 100 and bajillion knives and like tasers and all the stuff that you can legally have. So, look, I get it, but his car was a hella mess apparently because the initial searching officers missed several weapons that were in the back trunk. So,
the shotgun that was used to kill Riley?
Yes.
How long had that gun been in the car prior to Riley's death?
Uh, it, it was just put in there that
it
night.
is as loud as it will go.
Yeah.
So what I can do
It
is
was in
turn
the
myself down and
Okay. Was it ever in the car
turn
when Rowan was in the car?
it down, and then you guys can
Yes.
look. David sent
And
me an extension and I
would
am
you say it
learning
was
how to
in the
work
car
it.
about a week before?
Yeah.
So was the shotgun in the car because the handgun had been stolen?
Yes.
Okay. So I've
Do you
turned
know
me
why
and the
the
court
shotgun was
down.
in the car that week?
No.
So you gave Rowan rides in the car that week.
Yes.
Did you give
So
Riley
that you
rides
guys
in the
can
car
turn it
that
up
week?
on your end, and then hopefully I won't. I'm trying to figure out how to use the plugin. Salvador,
Where in the car
I
was
just
the
barely
shotgun
learn
kept?
things.
In between the back seat on the floorboard and
So I'm doing a
So it was
I
in
was
the
gonna
back
say
seat where
I'm
Rowan
doing
and
a
Riley
workaround,
took
not
in
a
rides.
reach,
right.
but that was
Did you ever see Rowan or Riley touch the gun when they were in the back seat?
I'm sorry.
Were
Yeah,
you
you're right.
worried
I'm
about your
turning
kids
down.
being around the gun?
No.
Why is that?
Can you please just do the IT thing so where you take over my computer like God and you just do what I need to do? So I've turned I've turned Court TV all the way up and I've turned me down so that you can turn it up and not blow out your eardrums with me, if that makes it it makes sense in my head. If that works. Let's see if that's any better for you guys.
Now, you indicated when you met Bill, you wanted to go on the trip to Florida because you could stop and see your mother.
Mm.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
And you did stop and see her that trip.
Yes.
Are you close to your mother?
Yes.
How often would you talk to her on the phone?
Almost every day. Maybe a few times a day sometimes.
And did Bill also talk to your mother often on the phone?
Yes.
Would the three of you talk, or was it you talking or Bill talking?
The three of us would talk.
Would you say Bill talked to her every day as well,
Not every day.
but often?
Yes.
Why is Bill talking to her mother?
Did she approve of your relationship?
Objection, speculation.
Sustained.
Did you ever talk to your mother about your relationship with Bill?
Yes.
Did she ever tell you anything?
Objection, hearsay.
Defense is on it today. I mean, he has been on it.
It is hearsay. Are you planning on having the mother testify?
I am, if needed. I can go on, Your Honor.
Go on then.
Did you ever try to leave Bill?
Yes.
How many times?
Your Honor, may we approach?
Yes.
So this particular witness is on both the defense and the state witness list, and I think she's been on record as supporting Bill that Riley was attacking. I don't quite get it. Yeah, this prosecutor has been all of the terrible. They had all of the evidence out, not neatly organized on a table, but it looked like an episode of Hoarders had vomited out an army surplus store. And she has been unprepared, and they've both been unprepared, her and the other lawyer, as far as like having exhibits ready. Look, I am one to talk. I am a semi-professional YouTuber and I barely work technology. But y'all come here for the duct tape and prayer holy water experience. You do not come here expecting me to be basically the mouthpiece of the government and, you know, be that way and be a lawyer. She is in fact a what we like to call a lawyer, and I would expect both of them to be on top of their game, especially if you know this is televised. I don't know. They just seem to have been woefully unprepared, especially when the defense is really on point and has had a lot of things going for her. Okay. So, what I believe and what it has been explained to me as to why you would have the same person on both different or both sides is that where direct, you are basically kind of shaping the narrative and the things that you want to ask the questions. And on redirect, you can only stay within that bounds on those questions that you ask. But when it's your witness, you can lead her down a very different path and frame questions exposing X, Y, and Z, where you were only able to do A, B, and C when the state called her because that's how lawyering goes. But I could be saying very wrong things, so don't come to me for life and or legal advice. Yeah, I'm still not sure this is not entirely a farce and the Matrix is having a bad day. Al Gore? Poor state's prosecution has to get on her daggone tiptoes. Oh, I didn't realize defense attorney was also short. Yes, but while they're doing this, the thumbnail, let me bring that up, was David and I, well, mostly David, but last night's chat, we figured that all the Muppets, apparently as is custom for MLS laws to do, uh, all of the people are Muppets. So the judge with his differently abled cat toupee, the Kermit prosecutor who basically lit up the entire jury box and all of the courtroom with her Daisy Red Ryder BB gun. This Carlos, the cockroach, is our valiant defendant because of the hair. And then the frog in bondage is our missing lizards and reptiles. So so that is where that came from, but I thought you guys might like to know the full story of how that came about while we are waiting.
How many times would you say you tried to leave Bill?
Uh, like a handful of times.
And you always came back.
Yes.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as Exhibit 63. Do you recognize this?
Yes.
And what is it?
Bill's wallet.
Inside Bill's wallet are two items. Can you describe the green item?
It's a Direct Express card. Was my card.
And there's a white item that I've shown.
My ID.
And Your Honor, to describe for the record, the first item she described from the wallet is a Direct Express MasterCard in the name of Tiffany Powell, and then a Wisconsin identification card in the name of Tiffany Powell. Were those items of yours always in Bill's wallet?
Yes.
And why is that?
Objection, Your Honor, relevant.
Ooh, grade teacher's getting angry.
I'm going
Fourth
to
grade.
excuse the jury.
Oh, hell no. Judge Cookie Monster's about to lose his shit. Well, the court is more packed today. That must mean more that people from town realized they weren't incarcerated and decided to come to the courthouse to make sure they weren't still involved with some sort of bond hearing. This entire town seems like a yeah, Kathy Bates is gonna get in it. She's getting a little feisty. I- Yeah, if true, I've not been a fan of Mr. Wild
We
Bill,
are
but
outside the presence of the jury. I guess we did just have a sidebar a few moments ago, and the defense was concerned about Ms. Isherwood. You were perhaps heading towards other acts, evidence that's not been examined or discussed, and you indicated you weren't. So what's the purpose of this question?
It was my understanding she
well, Mads, maybe you didn't see the witness who decided to church himself up a bit, but still wore gym shorts, a long white t-shirt, and then a button up top. It has been a fashion catastrophe. She looks like a fourth grade teacher. I don't know. This judge has a terrible hairpiece. Th- This has not been the fashion palette for which we should all follow. I always do the unfortunate pause. Yeah, she has been in various states of, I would call it grandma wear slash teacher wear.
She kept losing her cards. That's what we were told, and so Bill kept them in her wallet. It could be significant.
Well, I mean, if, okay, she was on a whole lot of what we call the Breaking Bad substance. So I am not shocked that she kept losing her cards. Heck, my husband, who's on none substance, asks me constantly where his wallet is. And I keep telling him if he put it away in one single place. Bill probably got tired of that. And he's like, look, lady, I'm putting it in my wallet. You won't lose it. Yeah, this does. This is like if SNL, In Living Color, and oh gosh, what was the other one? Mad TV all had good legal, writers, and then they made this. Yeah, so, I can see how they're wanting to infer that maybe it was controlling. I don't know.
Significant if she's recalled at some point. I was just getting it back, and
If that's what this witness is going to say, then no objection to that. That is not the defense's understanding of what that line of questioning was going to be for.
I want to watch
and I
it.
don't know today that she's gonna say because she kept losing them, but that's what April testified to.
Well, ma'am, what would your testimony be?
I don't remember April saying that anything about IDs, but April was also so boring the jury wanted to start deliberating between direct and cross. So I could have possibly been on a tangent and not remembered what she said. Yeah, that's kind of the thing. I think they're wanting to very much shade him as controlling, evil. Look, I already don't like the man because he was stepping out on his wife. I don't care if she's as boring as beige on beige on beige. You get a divorce and you move on to someone else after you get a divorce. But you do not step out on your wife, and wife, you do not watch side chicks' children. I Listen,
She
I'm just
did.
saying
The line
Tiffany
of
better be
cards
doing
were
some
that
laundry.
Mr. Zelensky's wallet.
One
It happens
second.
to them all the time.
It's not heading towards any other bad acts that we would need to address. So, if that's the testimony, you may proceed on that line, and we are ready for the jury. But I guess I should admonish if we at any time we're heading towards other bad acts, we have not addressed those issues.
I'm not, Your Honor.
Okay.
This is a witness who was charged at the same time as Mr. Zelinsky with identical criminal complaint, who has been convicted and is serving time in prison. She's a relevant witness. She's a co-defendant.
The concern from the defense is if the state is asking questions they don't know the answer to, the state is well aware of information in the discovery that is clearly other acts evidence that this witness may speak to if asked a question that the state doesn't know the answer to.
And in this instance, the state knew the answer after 2.5 years. Does the witness, April Zelinsky already testified that Tiffany kept losing the cards.
What in all the
My
thruppledom?
memory does not remember that testimony. I'm sure it just slipped my mind, but
I don't recall that testimony either, but
I'm not sure that's in the record. But I could be wrong.
The prosecutor is making crap
I
up.
got it in my notes. But it was also in
Hmm,
the record.
ma'am, I don't trust you. We're gonna need to run the
Just
record
understand,
back
I've never
per
seen any of the discovery.
per
I'm
Daryl
only
Brooks.
listening to the testimony that comes in. I could have missed that point. Probably wouldn't have been significant. And I haven't even looked at my notes if I would have that note.
And
But again, it goes. What is even the relevancy?
Right, and that's what my objection
That's what
was.
the objection was to relevancy. But,
Oh,
and it's not real relevant, but I'll allow that question. But I don't want this to go into an area that we haven't even explored the appropriateness of. There's been no
yeah.
motions by the state to present any other bad acts evidence as it relates to any relationship between Mr. Zelinsky and Ms. Powell.
I love this
And
judge, but I
if
keep
that's
seeing
where
him
the
as
state's
Cookie
going,
Monster
we need
with
to
a
have
differently abled
a
cat.
hearing and voir dire outside the presence of the jury. And I don't want to keep interrupting the trial today and sending the jury out when every question is asked. I want everyone to understand the rules.
And Your Honor, I'm well aware of the rules, and if
Oh,
any,
she's beginning to become Kathy Bates from near middle and end of Misery. She's about to hobble someone.
in my case in chief, I'm not eliciting that information.
Okay? Then we're ready for the jury.
Guys, are you able to hear it better since I turned myself down and you guys can turn up the court without blowing your eardrums out with my particular talking? Huh, Barney Gumbel's back. That's the guy with the plaid shirt. You're fine. I'm sorry. Look, Salvador and I will have a share my screen IT fixer upper deal. And maybe they'll tell the witness to speak into the god dang microphone. I'm sorry, Mads. I'm learning to do all the things. So it's I mean, honestly, y'all, this is why my channel name is Mo in the Deep End. I picked what for me is the hardest, most scary thing, which would be, getting in the computer and things like that. So this is my year of doing just one hard thing a day. And the computer always rises to the challenge to give me more hard things to do. Uh, yes, I'm doing sort of a grift for a whiteboard. I have one picked out. I'm nearly at my goal, and then I can have a standing whiteboard. I do have an extra camera, so I can, you know, move to that. And then when we have these Walmart trials, I can write things down. What did I do now? I don't know, probably something.
See it. You may proceed.
Thank you. Ms. Powell, I had asked you why your ID card and MasterCard were in Bill's wallet. Do you know why?
Because I lost them all the time.
Now, Bill had a rather unusual collection.
I forgot
that
we were
true?
degenerates.
Yes,
What did he collect?
animals,
What kind of animals?
reptiles.
Uh, he may or may not. It'll just depend. Usually, if he's on the computer doing something like finances and things, I'm watching the kids, and if we might do a spouses episode because I have the gaming thing, but I am still working on a tentative like adult schedule for this. So, you know, it it will all come out in the end. It will all work, but I'm just kind of winging and praying it for a moment.
Did you like the reptiles?
Yes,
Were you scared of them?
no,
Did you ever refer to the reptiles as your babies?
maybe.
What did you have to do to take care of these reptiles?
He would
Not much April.
Mr. Mo
mainly
would
took care
approve.
of the animals.
Were some of them poisonous?
Yes,
And just, I'm using my own experience, I wouldn't go anywhere near them, but did you stay away from the poisonous ones? Or were you comfortable, had you been taught how to handle all of them?
No, I stayed away from the poison.
You guys are degenerates, but you're my
What
degenerate,
other
and
big
Mama
animals
loves
did
you.
Bill and April have?
Bobcats, lemurs, a wolf.
Wolf?
Mm,
This man, if Bill does not come on in a damn denim fringed vest, I'm gonna be very upset because dude is like discount Tiger King over here. And he had a wombat that unfortunately became a hairpiece for the judge.
mm.
How, was it a baby or a full grown?
It was when I got there. It was grown.
And the bobcats, were they babies or full grown?
Full.
All right, people, apparently, when you're talking about snakes, it is not poisonous, it is venomous. Though, honestly, it's more like burn them all with holy fire, if you ask me, even though I know they perform an important you know, part of God's, food web and ecosystem, but no.
Full grown.
And they were all kept out at Bill and April's house at East Road?
Yes.
What did Rowan think of the animals?
Bill
He
has a
loved them.
type. It is beige.
What did Riley think of them?
He loved them.
Seems like reptiles is something boys could really bond over.
Yeah.
At some point, there was a burglary at Bill and April's house, is that correct?
Yes.
Oh,
And do you remember when that was?
No.
well,
If I
as long
told
as
you
there's
it
a
was
distinction.
between October 14th and 15th in 2020, would that sound familiar?
Yeah.
So after you and Bill learned that the reptiles were missing.
Yes, this is so
Did you
Jody,
learn-
this is the girlfriend, but this is also the mother of you can use decedent or victim depending on, which courtroom you're in because, Schrader won't let you say victim because but yes, it is a very strange she's a strange witness because she's also going to be called for the defense and she has kind of publicly thrown her support in with Bill. So now, I thought she was gonna be more fiery, and the prosecution said that she was gonna be their longest witness, and I realize now it's because she has fried her brain, fried it all the way out. So, these are simple leading questions, which you're not supposed to do on direct, but this is all I think she's capable of.
Learn any
Allegedly.
other items were missing?
Uh, there was alcohol missing, and out of his car there was guns missing.
How many guns?
These boys done stole Patron and Tanqueray. Yeah, she is on she might have been licking some windows and toads while she was there. I don't know. Allegedly, in my opinion. Eh, yeah, she might be on. Look, if I had to go into a trial, allegedly, I'm just saying I would be a big old ball of nerves. So I may ask my actual real doctor for something to help with nerves. I doubt that she asked a licensed pharmacist for her assistance. Well, I mean, she's in the custody of the state, so maybe she did.
Two.
And were those rifles or shotguns?
No, they were handguns.
Is that the handgun you said that he kept in the glove box?
Yes.
Where was the other handgun kept?
Under the seat in a lockbox.
So between October 15th and October 19th, what did you do in regards to the theft of these items?
We went looking around town, talking to people, asking if they knew anything about it.
it would be pretty, obvious if somebody knew about a stolen venomous steak. Is that correct?
Right.
That's not a common item that you would see on Craigslist.
Right.
Did you check the
Well,
internet to see if any of the items, might be posted for
oh,
sale?
wow.
Yes.
And during that time, were you worried about the safety of the animal?
Goosebumps. Y'all in Wisconsin are trying to kill me with some of these county names. Like Huacapa, I kind of get, but I'm not even, nope.
Animals?
Yes. And the person that took them.
Because they're poisonous.
Yes.
And not all of them were poisonous, is that correct?
That's correct.
Did you have any suspects?
Yeah.
Who was that?
Riley. I think Alexis
Ah,
Dahl. I don't remember who else.
What did you do when you had a suspect? I assume you and Bill were together and you were looking for the animals together?
Yes.
What did you do? Did you go
her
through
fidgeting is going to
houses?
make me
Yes.
seasick.
And
Ah, thank you.
before October 19th, did you have any leads as to where the animals might be?
Just Riley.
What lead did you have on Riley?
There was a video with him with the alcohol bottle that was stolen.
And where did you see it,
See,
the video?
I seen it on my phone on Riley's Snapchat because he didn't log out on my phone on his Snapchat.
So he used your phone to get into his Snapchat and left.
All right. Once again for the class, we do not Snapchat, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, uh, YouTube, write down in notebook, Google Notes, make a PowerPoint of our crime. This has been a message brought to you by Stay the Hell Out of Jail. Don't do crime in the first place.
Left it open.
Yeah.
Did you ask Riley?
Yeah.
Her
Did he
shaking is about to
tell you
kill
he had
me.
stolen the reptiles?
No.
That didn't surprise you that an 18-year-old kid didn't admit, did it?
No.
Now, you said you cared about the reptiles.
Yeah.
Did they have a special diet?
Uh,
Can you
They-
feed them dog food?
no. They have to have mice or
Ma'am, lady prosecutor, sweetness, you know, let's see. Kathy Bates before she went crazy in Misery. Please, please do not ask her non-leading questions. She can't handle it. I suddenly realize, yeah. She's like, I like the animals. Okay, well, what do you like about them? Stuff. Okay, well, what did they eat? Uh, and then the prosecutor jumps in to save the day. Like dog food? Well, oh, no, no, like, uh, mice and stuff. This woman's, I'm gonna need your royal
live
Roseanne
animals.
Barnes.
Oh, you feed,
Or they have to have like animals or whatever meat.
so they would be fed live mice.
No, they would kill the mice right before feeding it.
Okay. And who,
Maybe she got a
whoever
hold of
took
Tyler
them,
and
you had no idea
from
if they were
the
feeding
the
the
Rudolph trial, and she's like, "Look, I'm going on trial. I need something to calm me down." And he's like, "I have just the thing. I was in trial a while ago." Yeah, I would if I were a juror, I'd be ticked off at this point because she's wasting time. I
animals are
don't like
properly
time
caring
wasters.
for.
Right.
Were you worried they might just let them go?
Yeah.
So is it fair to say in those days after the burglary, did you spend pretty much all your time trying to find the animals?
A lot of it, yeah.
What was more important, finding the animals or finding who took them?
Finding the animals.
Because you were hoping you could still save them.
Yeah.
Now, at some point, you had even more information that it may be Riley, and was that on October
This seems
19th?
to be
Yeah.
bolstering the defense.
And when you learned that it might be Riley, what did you do?
We went to his apartment.
I now kind of want to see if people, I'm sure there's videos of this, but I now want to see what would happen. I need, yeah. Y'all, if I go on tangents today, it is not my fault. This woman has done hurted my soul. Your Honor, your holy wombatness. Is this going to be our longest witness? Not because of the most questions, because she is slower than me trying to jog when I used to could jog.
Riley's apartment.
Yeah.
And that's downtown Stephen or Wapaka.
Right.
Ma'am, you are
But
the
did you ever make
prosecutor.
it
You
to
should know how to
his
say
apartment?
this.
Yeah.
Okay, and were the animals there?
No.
Where else did you go on October 19th?
Uh, we went to Main Street building.
Okay. Did you go to Terry Dalrymple's house?
Yes.
Same,
And
I
was
know.
that before you went to the Main Street building?
Yes.
Why did you go to Tara's house?
Because Mackenzie called and said that she had information about Riley taking the animals.
And Tara's Mackenzie's mom.
Yes.
And Mackenzie is the mother of Riley's child.
Yes.
Y'all, this family tree
So
circles. It does not fork.
when you got to Tara's house, who was there?
Tara and her youngest daughter.
Daisha?
Yeah.
And did they have the information you were looking for?
Yeah, they just showed us a Snapchat video, and Mackenzie on the phone told us that Riley asked her
Yes.
sister for a ride to go get the animals.
And that had been sometime previous.
Mm-hmm.
Is
Yes.
that a yes?
Sorry.
So
Fedorowski, she's already bred, and one of her children is being watched by the wife who knows his bedtime, which means he gets stuck with him a lot. This entire family has made me really reconsider, single adult without children. I mean, maybe it's the path that most of us should take, or they should have taken.
you got that information while you were at Tara's house. Did you leave?
Mads, let's be very honest. If they asked an open-ended question like the food question, we'd be here for 17 hours. I believe they might have stipulated to it, to be very honest.
Suddenly for any reason?
I don't remember.
Do you remember getting a call from a law enforcement officer?
No.
Ma'am, this woman doesn't remember 2 minutes ago.
But at some point you left.
Yes.
And when you were at Tara's house,
Really, every time she chews on the piece of gum, she's like, I didn't even remember I had gum.
do you remember if you just parked in the driveway?
I think so.
At some point you met with an officer downtown.
Yes.
And were you talking about the theft from the car or the theft of the reptiles
She's
with
buffering.
that officer?
I don't remember.
Do you recall at some point having a three-way phone call?
Yes.
And who was that three-way phone call with?
With Danielle and
Okay, y'all, to be super serious, look, all of my kids were on even years, and then my middle son decided to be a butthole and come on an odd year. So There may be times I don't remember their exact ages, right off the jump, but I remember the year they were born. I was there. I kinda remember sometimes.
And Angela.
Now, you
Being
knew
ex
Danielle, is that true?
Yes.
Did you know Angela?
No.
So Danielle helped get Angela in touch with you.
Yes.
And why did Angela want to be in touch with you?
Because she had the animals at her house.
Did you get the address of her house?
Maz, this would be the most boring threesome ever. I mean, you've got 2 beige women and Bill over here. I'm just saying it's never the threesome you wanna see. It's always these folks. So,
Yes.
You must have been so excited to have finally found those animals.
Yes.
Did Angela indicate if the animals were alive or dead?
oh, I'm even more
Uh,
disgusted.
to my knowledge, they were alive.
Okay, and
And she
and
wanted
just
them.
to rewind, guys, so the animals that were stolen were venomous snakes, a freaking Nile crocodile, a Burmese python, and some kind of Salvador's gonna remind me this evening when we do the evening stream, but some sort of bearded Mexican poison lizard. I don't know. But I just look, y'all, forever and for always, I will just imagine these 2 very smart criminals wet banditing it and stuffing, live venomous creatures down their pants and in their shirts. Now, I'm sure that's not how it happened, but in my mind, that is how it happened.
Them out of her house.
Yes.
So where were you when you had that phone call? Do you remember? Were you in the car?
Yeah, we were driving.
Okay. Do you remember where you were driving?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, a Mexican beaded
No.
lizard.
But at that point, you had an address where the animals were,
Thank
and
you,
you were
Murph,
going to go
and
pick
thank
them
you,
up.
Salvador, for
Yeah.
keeping us on the straight and
And that
narrow.
whole week, did you and Bill both say the most important thing was getting the animals?
Yes.
Did you ever talk about what should happen?
I don't know. Look, maybe it was a rare color combination or he was also selling it with Beanie Babies. I have no idea. I am not a herpetologist, reptileologist, and quite frankly, like I said, they are all part of the food web, but they can stay the heck away from me. If you have no legs, I'm pretty sure you're the enemy, okay? And not in church lady
So the
tones,
person
just
who stole the animals?
no, no.
No.
You just wanted the animals back alive.
Yes.
So you're driving. Do you remember what road you
Murph's
were
Turf's
on when
gonna keep us on the
when
straight
you
and
found
narrow.
out the
Salvador's
address
gonna
of the animals?
No.
gonna laugh at me.
Were you still on the phone when you saw Riley?
I don't remember. I don't. I don't think so.
Mads.
So you were driving out to get the animals
Uh,
out
I would not be shocked with
near
these
to
people.
Iowega. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yes. Sorry.
That's a thing?
And
Well, I guess it would be a thing, but
you told officers the route you took.
get with Mads. You
Remember
guys
that?
can
Yes.
have your own
And you were
YouTube.
going down School Street.
Yes.
Yes. And School Street is the street that the rec center is on.
You're
Is
right.
that right? Now, when you were driving down School Street, did you see somebody walking?
Yes.
And who did you see walking?
Ah,
Riley.
Now, at some point in that evening, did you know Riley had been arrested?
Yes.
Do you know why?
No.
You weren't told why, just that he had been arrested for some reason.
Yes.
And were you told
as
that
you
he
do. Your
also had
son's
been
just
released?
arrested.
Yes.
You have no idea.
Now, October of 2020 was a weird time with COVID, would you agree?
Yes.
And the rules were kind of different then.
Yes.
So when you saw Riley, you knew
Yeah.
you had already known he had been released from jail.
Yes.
So you're driving, was Riley walking on School Street?
Yes, I think so.
And he was coming from the direction of the jail?
Yes.
What did you
I'm not even gonna y'all, I know you clip this stuff. There are clips aplenty for Farrell's channel from last night's stream. So I have no idea, Fedorowski, but Sal knows most of the time. Anything degenerate, he is a daggone expert.
And Bill do when you saw Riley?
Oh,
We
I'm
pulled
jealous.
over, or we pulled down the street, and Riley came toward us.
Now, why did you pull down the street?
I just stopped to call Riley over.
Why didn't you go get the animals?
I don't know.
That whole week, all you had said is the most important thing was the animals. Is that right?
Right.
And you wanted to get to the animals to make sure they were alive. Is that right?
Well, there you
Right.
go.
But, and at that time you had the address where the animals were. Is that right?
Right.
And you were on your way to go get the animals.
Right.
Did you ever go get the animals?
No.
So you pulled down the road in front of Riley.
Mhm.
Did you pull to the end of the road?
I think so. I don't.
When you got out of the car, what did you do?
Started asking Riley about the animals.
So you're at the end of the road and Riley was walking on School Street. Did he see you turn?
Yes.
And he started walking down Van Street,
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
And you only turned down that road because you saw Riley.
Right.
What did Bill grab from the car?
Nothing at that time. I don't think.
Okay, so when did he get the
Ma'am,
gun
thinking
and
is not your
the
strong
taser
point.
or the stun gun?
I'm not sure when he grabbed it.
You didn't see him grab it?
Mm,
Is that a no?
that's a no.
It's hard to get used to talking for court. So I'll just remind you if you say, mhm.
Thank you.
Okay, well,
So
you're
you
Roseanne
got out of the
Barnes. You
car
tell her.
and you could see Riley coming?
Yes.
Was he running?
Yes.
And was he saying anything?
I don't remember.
So at some point you
No
started
worries. Click
walking
in and
or
out
running towards
because
Riley on
there's
Van
a lot of
Street, is
different
that
trials
correct?
going on
Yes.
today.
Because he
And this woman's gonna she's gonna make me start day drinking. I mean, for cereals.
hadn't met you yet. He was coming from School Street and you were coming from the car and you met in the middle, is that correct?
Correct.
And that's how that happened.
Yes.
So did you go back to the car before
Yes.
The car?
before you got to Riley?
No.
So you got out of the car, Bill got out of the car, and you started going toward Riley.
Yes.
So do you remember when you met up with Riley that Bill had the gun and the stun gun?
No. We ended
Nope.
up close back
No,
to the
no.
car.
I watched Arachnophobia. I was afraid to use the toilet for like a week. Now I still did, but I checked that sucker every time to make sure there wasn't a daggone spider in there.
But Bill handed you the gun when you were out confronting Riley.
Yeah.
If I played the video from the Ring doorbell, would that help you remember what happened? I haven't.
I don't know.
Well, should we try?
This prosecutor's like, you really can't be dumb. If I show you this moving picture we call a video that has your movements on it,
Have you seen the Ring doorbell video?
No.
Your attorney never showed you?
fact patterns seem to prove you are correct, Lefty. Facts are in evidence.
To connect to.
Wait, why aren't they showing the footage this time? We've seen it a bajillion times. Anything to get us off this defendant who looks like he should be possibly not allowed near schools. Just throwing it out
Your
there.
Honor, for the record, I'm going to play the video that has already been entered into evidence and is on the state's exhibit 14.
I will encourage no one.
Could you tell her, do you need me to start that from the beginning?
Oh no, I seen it.
Okay. So that shows you and Bill coming from the car and meeting up with Riley, correct?
Mm,
Yes?
Yeah.
yes, sir.
And the gun had a flashlight on it, is that correct?
Yes.
It was a double-barreled shotgun. Could we
Did
start calling
Bill
things by
have
the
some
correct
kind of light on
name?
his hat that you recall?
No, I don't think
The stun gun, did he carry that on him?
so. No.
It
Oh.
was,
Or if he was wearing his jacket, sometimes it was in his jacket.
He had a bandolier
but
of
he
stun
had the stun
guns
gun with him and the shotgun when
and
you met up with
harmonicas.
Riley, is that correct?
Yes.
But you didn't see him get the shotgun out of the car?
No.
And you were looking at
Yes,
Riley, you
you're not
weren't
missing
looking at
much
Bill, is that true?
because
Right.
this woman has
So
done
were you
fried all
really
her
paying
brain cells.
attention to what Bill was doing?
No.
Now, the stun gun also has a flashlight on it, is that right?
I'm not sure.
Cause you never held the stun gun that night, did you?
No.
Now, I'm gonna replay this, but I'm gonna replay it at half speed. Because it's only 30 seconds.
Okay, y'all, how pissed is she gonna be when this guy gets off on self-defense? And yes, I know gets off phrasing. And she got 15 years for, well, a bunch of different things. I believe being a felon in possession of a firearm and things. But, you know, he's gonna it's looking more likely that he might get at least, his charges acquitted, or he goes for the less I don't think they have lesser included. So I believe okay, it was a side by side, not an over and under. I know none of the things about weapons except to not point them at the damn jury like the lady prosecutor did. Yeah, it's it's upsetting. But how upset is she gonna be when Wild Bill gets acquitted and she's still sitting in what we like to call jail? It looked like one that had to be held against the body. It didn't look like one with the,
And
hooks
can
that
you see
fly out.
okay from that position?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, the video starts, do you know who this is? Is that Riley?
Yeah.
And right here, we can see the flash, some kind of flashlight. Who's that?
She doesn't have to
Bill.
think about much.
And then I think
They
you're
tell her
kind
when
of
to
hiding
wake up and
behind
go to
this tree
sleep.
here, is that true?
Yes.
It might be helpful.
And it looks like you left your car door open. Did Bill leave his car door open?
I'm not sure.
So I'm gonna play it a little slower this time.
Okay, so in this video,
Now, we can see right here.
no, Kathy Bates, I don't want you talking right now. So you can see the girlfriend, she has the shotgun because you can tell the flashlight is all the way at the end. It did not have a rocket launcher like, any Death Wish, 4 real fan would want. But this person right here, I believe, is Riley. And then the person in the middle is Bill. Now, a couple facts that the prosecution is, kind of glazing over right now is A, things don't happen in half speed. B, Riley knows that there is a daggone arsenal in Bill's car. So if he is rushing his mother, who does have the shotgun, um, to go towards the car, there could be a very legitimate fear of him having, access to a weapon. Also, we know that 2 of the handguns were stolen from this particular car. So we are not aware, or if you are in this situation, you are not aware if the person who is middling meth high has all these things as he's charging at you. So
Here,
these
you
are
were
some
holding the
prosecutor
shotgun on your
tricks.
son, correct?
Correct.
And there's a flashlight on the shotgun, and you can see the flashlight that it's aimed right at his head. Is that correct?
Correct.
And then Bill has some kind of light too, as well. Is that what you see?
Yes.
Now, Bill's trying to get Riley, is that what you see?
Yes.
Was he trying to get him with the stun gun?
I'm not sure.
Did you talk about why you would be going after Riley with the gun and the stun gun?
No.
You could have been going to get the animals, correct?
Correct.
Okay,
At this point, you knew where the animals.
so yes, they, in theory, had all of this worked out, not like a freaking SNL punk skit of like People of Walmart, the trial edition. Yes, they could have gone to get the animals. They saw Riley walking as they're about to go to the house to get the animals because the mom of that house was just going to release them into the wild. And this is how you get crocodiles in the effing sewer, people. So stop it. But they came upon this gentleman. He started a ruckus, you know, when met with, Riley trying to charge him. Bill, was going to tussle back. Now, Riley also charged aggressively at his mother, and you see that she did not, um, shoot at him. So she obviously wasn't afraid of for her life or didn't feel like she was justified. But once that person starts grabbing a hold of, and the defense will probably pull out the demonstrative again because it was very good. It was, you know, the same exact length of the actual rifle, and it showed with electrical tape where Riley's DNA was found. Now, the state tried to say that it could have been spittle, but that is a whole t'other idea. But I- yeah, yeah, she definitely did put her.
Animals were.
Right.
Did
Okay,
Bill carry handcuffs with him?
you Wisconsiners, do you know if she will have to serve more than half or if they have like truth in sentencing like they do down here, where they kind of tell you what you're exactly looking at as far as when you can get parole or probation? So I don't know if it's like normal where you just cut it in half and she'll probably serve half, or if it's something where she has to serve a certain
Not that I
percentage.
knew of.
You never saw handcuffs?
No.
Dang,
What
Bill's
were you
holding out on
hoping
you.
to accomplish? To catch Riley?
I just I just wanted him to tell the truth about the animals.
But at this
Thank
time,
you.
you knew where the animals were.
Right.
So it was more important to get
Okay.
Riley to tell the truth than to go get the animals and save them?
I guess so.
Angela wanted the animals out of her basement, didn't she?
Yes.
And I turn it on again. And I had stopped at 18 minutes and 42 seconds, or is that 18.42 seconds into this? shotgun and Riley ran right past you, correct?
Right.
Did he try to grab the shotgun from you?
No.
It doesn't appear he was afraid of you.
No.
He knew you wouldn't shoot him.
Right.
You wouldn't have shot him, would you?
No.
So he ran past you, and he's
Salvador.
at the car. What did he do when he got to the car?
He got in like he was gonna take the car.
Wouldn't that have been better?
No, because he could have used it as a weapon. I dislike when the state does this, where they're like, "Well, now he was just trying to carjack you." Uh, I understand that the state can hold opposing positions at the same time, but had he gotten into the car methed up, he could have driven over each of them. The the fact that I have to be the fact that I have to be the voice of reason is always upsetting to me.
Yeah.
Ooh, I'd be
When he
irritated.
ran to the car, what did you and Bill do?
I don't remember.
Let's turn it back on. So Riley's at the car, and you and Bill are running after him. Now, you don't have the shotgun anymore, do you?
No.
What happened to it?
Bill took it.
So, right, we can see Riley standing by the car, and
Yeah.
you and Bill are running to the car. Correct?
Correct.
So Riley's yelling, "Put the gun down and fight like a man."
Like a
Did
man.
Bill put the gun down?
No.
Did Riley ever hit Bill?
Are we going full Binger? Are we going full Binger and Lunchbox here? Because I need to know. But it sounds like Wisconsin, you are just obliged to go full Binger. And like, you're supposed to just fight like a man. Why'd you have to bring a firearm? Did you cross state lines? Lord, Wisconsin is predictable.
Bill?
Not that I know of.
You were there. You didn't see him hit Bill.
No.
As you
And
do.
Riley didn't have any weapon.
No.
And Riley didn't steal the car.
No.
Because he was
Riley
stopped.
threw off his jacket, or Bill pulled his jacket off at some point.
Riley took it off.
Now, right now, Bill's not facing toward Riley. Now, Bill's bending down to pick something off the street. You can see the light from the
Hey.
shotgun is pointing, and Bill's bending over. Do you know what he was picking up?
No.
You were right in the video between Riley and the car. Did you see Riley have any weapon?
No.
And Riley wants a fist fight.
Right.
We have gone full Binger.
I see and hear you talking to Riley. What were you saying? Do you remember?
No, I don't remember.
So Riley never had a gun.
No.
Riley never had a knife.
No.
That they were
Riley
aware
never
of at the
grabbed any
time.
of those weapons that were in Bill's car.
No.
Riley wanted to have a fist fight with Bill.
Right.
Riley never tried to grab the gun from.
So when Bill, who was a larger man and a former police officer, like delivered a haymaker and then Riley fell and struck his head on the ground, he would still be, in fact, guilty of murder and assault if you did it that way. It the logic kills me. No, we did not so the Ring doorbell did not pick up the actual moment of the shots being fired or the shot being fired, since it goes in 30-second, like, spurts, but yeah, it is all the Walmart.
From Bill?
No.
It looks like
But
the
at
state
some
gives up on
point,
her in about 4
Bill got
minutes.
close to Riley. Do you recall that?
No.
Did you hear a shot?
Yeah.
And what happened?
I don't remember.
Did Riley fall sideways, forward, straight down? Do you remember?
No, I don't remember.
This prosecutor is getting
Did Bill
peeved.
try to render any aid to
No.
Riley? Did Bill give Riley CPR?
No.
Did Bill try to stop the bleeding?
No.
What did Bill do with the gun?
I don't know.
Don't remember.
This has been a very informative,
Bill asked you to
witness.
call 911, is that correct?
Yes.
And you pushed the buttons for 911 on your phone?
Yeah.
And did you talk to 911 or did you hand the phone to Bill?
I handed the phone to Bill.
Well, she's not gonna win Mother of the
Did Bill ever
Year.
apologize to you for shooting your son?
No.
Yeah, it's
Did it all happen very fast?
Yes.
surprised the
As you sit here
prosecution.
today, are you certain that Riley didn't grab the gun from Bill?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And Bill never gave any first aid to Riley?
No.
Do you miss your son every single day?
Yes.
For F's sakes, woman, this is facts, not feelings. Stop it. Freaking hate. Come on, state. Okay, this is when you know the state doesn't have anything because they'll start. Can you please cry on stand? Please cry. Look, we have seen good prosecutors. I always hold up Sue Opper from the Darrell Brooks case, where they could have marched every single little child who had their life destroyed or almost ended by this monster up on the stand, traumatized them and got all the cry sympathy points, but they didn't because they were trying to run a clean facts-based case. This is ugh, I hate it when they do this.
Thank you, I have no further questions.
Cross.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Come on, defense. She did say that,
Powell.
but she doesn't remember anything.
On direct, it was, I think you said a couple of different things with respect to Riley grabbing the gun. I want to ask you some questions about that, okay?
Okay.
I believe when the state first asked you, you said you don't know if Riley grabbed the gun. You remember saying that?
No.
You said,
Ah,
I don't think Riley grabbed the gun. That's what you said.
Okay.
You said you testified you think you could see the gun the whole time.
well, yeah, he
That's
did.
what you said.
Okay.
Now, you testified a lot about the relationship you had with Bill. You testified you met Bill in August of 2019.
Mhm.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
That's not actually the first time you met him, right?
Oh Lord, did they meet
Oh,
on a
no.
site?
You met him many years earlier
Yes.
when Bill was a police officer.
Yes.
You didn't have a romantic relationship back then,
No.
but you met him.
Yes, I didn't remember meeting him. You told me about
Did he
it.
arrest her? Please
And
let this
then
romance
when
start
you
with
took the trip to
handcuffs.
Florida, that's when you got to know him a little better.
Yes.
You took a road trip to Florida regarding the animals.
Yes.
And you testified that at the time you knew Bill was married
Yes.
to April,
Yes.
and that April was okay with that relationship,
Yes.
with
What
your and
in
Bill's
all the
relationship.
Walmarts?
In fact, April participated in your relationship.
Yes.
And you and April got along fine.
Yes.
Y'all, this throuple had to be the most boring. Could you imagine April? Yes. And then Tiffany. Yes. This was the most beige on white on flat paint threesome. If I hear the word threesome, I want to hear like, well, I want it to be more spicy than mayonnaise.
It worked for all three of you.
Yes.
You testified that Riley spent a lot of time with Bill.
Yes.
Bill cared about Riley.
Yes.
This could have made this trial so much more
Recall an
interesting.
incident regarding some tennis shoes?
No.
You don't recall when Bill bought Riley some tennis shoes?
No.
You said Riley was in Bill's car a lot,
Yes.
but not after you guys were robbed.
No, I don't think so.
Now, you testified that you suspected Riley was involved in the burglary of the animals
Yes.
and the theft of the guns.
Yes.
That's because the day before you discovered things were missing, there was an incident at your apartment.
Yes.
Riley had come over to your apartment.
Yes.
Riley wanted to come inside your apartment.
Yes.
That's the apartment over on Main Street.
Yes.
You told Riley at that time he couldn't come inside.
I don't remember.
Reindeer, don't ruin this for me. I'm hoping Bill is the brains of the operation because if they're all slow, I don't know how they manage to dress themselves in the morning, to be real honest with you. And I don't know that I'd want them handling venomous animals. Possibly true. Possibly true.
You spoke with the police a number of times, right?
Yes.
About this case?
Yes.
And you told the police everything that you remembered?
Yes.
And you spoke to the police many years ago,
Yes.
shortly after this incident happened?
Yes.
You
Are we about to impeach her with her deposition? Yes, please. I bet she didn't not remember all the things that she was saying now to not remember, but let's go ahead and see. Chat, do you think we're gonna impeach some sister wife?
agree your memory was better then than it is now?
Probably.
Because a lot of time has passed since this incident.
I'm gonna say her memory was never effing good, but that's just
I'm gonna
me.
show you a video. And does that appear to be you in this video?
Yes.
And that's you speaking with a police officer?
Yes.
Is that marked in some fashion?
Yes, it is going to be on Exhibit 25 entitled Axon 12 or 12 Axon.
Thank you, proceed.
And so I'm going to play a short clip of this.
Okay. Also for the class, a defense and or prosecuting attorney will never ask you a question they don't know the answer to. So if they ask you if you're sure about that, think real hard if you might have said something else during deposition.
And we're going to start at 21 minutes and 43 seconds. And we'll turn it up before we hit play. And we'll stop right there at 21 minutes and 48 seconds. Did you hear that okay?
Yes.
That was you telling the police officer you told Riley he couldn't come in?
Yes.
But Riley came inside your apartment anyways?
Yes.
And that had something to do with COVID, right?
Yeah.
That you were afraid of COVID at that time.
Yes.
And you liked to wear a mask at that point?
Yes.
And Bill respected that and always wore a mask?
Yes.
But when Riley came over, he wasn't wearing a mask.
No.
And that's why you didn't want him to come inside?
Probably.
And at some point, Bill told Riley to
I know. Let's just say if there were, you know, if there were ever a couple to play cops and robbers with some handcuffs. Yeah, no, the COVID will get you, or I'm sorry, the unspecified illness of unknown origin will get you. But that, Breaking Bad chemistry stuff, no way. Yeah, the prosecution seemed to be like spaghetti on the wall.
leave after he had come inside.
Yeah.
And at that point, Riley wanted to fight Bill.
Yeah.
He started yelling at Bill.
Yeah.
He started threatening Bill.
Yeah.
And that was the day before you discovered that the things were stolen from you.
Yeah.
Can't imagine someone on Breaking Bad substances would want to steal something that isn't
You
theirs.
testified that there were two different thefts, or thefts at two different locations.
Yeah.
That the animals had been taken from Bill's house on East Road.
Yeah.
And the animals had a special area they stayed on at East Road.
Yeah.
It was a shed, right?
Right.
That shed had two different rooms in it.
Yeah.
For different types of reptiles.
Yes.
Climate controlled.
Yes.
Special
I
enclosures
feel like
for
that
the
should be a
reptiles.
big
Yes.
objection.
And those reptiles were taken from that shed.
Right.
So he had a snake shed, and I can't get my HOA to get me a she shed, a ish barn, or a see you next Tuesday corral. I am just upset.
And that, when you discovered those reptiles were taken, you discovered the firearms had been taken from Bill's car.
Yeah.
And Bill's car was parked on Main Street,
Right.
or I think behind Main Street in that alleyway.
Yes.
Because the alleyway is where you get into your apartment.
Yes.
Bill's car was parked right there.
Yes.
And you discovered two guns were taken.
Yes.
One gun you mentioned was in the glove compartment.
In the center council.
In the center console. So a gun was stolen from the center console.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yes.
And that was a handgun.
Yes.
You'd seen that handgun before.
Yes.
It's not as big as a shotgun.
No.
It's a handgun. It fits in your hand.
Right.
There was another handgun that was taken.
Yes.
I feel like with most witnesses, you wouldn't have to explain the size difference between a handgun and a shotgun. But with this witness, we may need to actually just pull out the yardstick and draw a picture in crayons.
That was actually in a lockbox
Yes.
underneath the passenger seat.
Yes.
And that lockbox was connected to a cable,
Yes.
but the cable had been cut.
Yes.
That's why Bill knew it had to have been somebody that knew where that gun was
Right.
and had come prepared to take that gun.
Right.
And again, that was right after that incident at your apartment with Riley.
Yes.
Now, you testified that after you discovered these things were missing, you and Bill started to try to track down the animals.
Right.
I think your testimony was you went around town asking people about them,
Yes.
driving around on the street,
Yes.
asking different people on the street,
Yes.
people that you knew.
Yes.
And you testified that you suspected that it was Riley.
Yes.
And before the evening of October 19th, you had asked Riley about the animals.
Yes.
You and Bill actually went to Riley's apartment,
Yes.
his apartment on Mill Street.
Yes.
And that's when you asked Riley about the animals.
Yes.
And he denied that he had taken the animals.
Yeah.
Bill didn't threaten Riley at that point.
No.
Bill didn't hurt Riley at that point.
No.
Bill didn't pull a gun on Riley at that point.
No.
But you both went over there because you suspected that Riley was involved.
Yes.
Now, earlier in the night on October 19th, you were over at Bill's house on East Road.
Yes.
Bill was there.
Yes.
You were there.
Yes.
Rowan, Rowan was there.
Yes.
April was there.
Yes.
It's not uncommon for Rowan and you to come over to Bill's house on East Road.
No.
It's not uncommon for Rowan to spend the night at Bill's house on East Road.
I know we need to
Rowan
do
had
David's
bedtime.
Thai talk tonight.
Do you remember what time his bedtime was?
9 to 5.
And before you guys left, Rowan was getting ready for bed.
Yes.
And you left shortly before Rowan's bedtime.
Yes.
And Rowan was inside getting ready for bed.
Yes.
Now, at some point when you were on East Road, you received some messages from Mackenzie.
Yes.
Oh, I love the demonstrative.
Your Honor, may I approach?
You may.
Ms. Powell, I just handed you what's been marked Exhibit 72. You recognize those, correct?
Yes.
Those are messages on your phone,
Yes.
messages from Mackenzie,
Yes.
and you received those when you were at Bill's house on East Road.
Yes.
And in those messages, Mackenzie indicated she had heard Riley was going to rob Bill.
Yeah.
And that's when you told her you were already robbed.
Yeah.
And Mackenzie had been Riley's girlfriend at some point.
Yes.
Mackenzie told you after you said you had already been robbed that it was your son, right?
Yes.
There had been people asking for a ride
Yes.
From Mackenzie's sister,
Yes.
Mackenzie's sister Madison,
Yes.
a ride to go rob Bill.
Yes.
You testified that you really got to know Bill in August of 2019.
Yes.
And in the time that you knew Bill always carried a gun.
Yes.
Bill always had a gun in his car.
Yes.
You knew Bill to have 2 handguns,
Yes.
the 2 that were kept in his car.
Yes.
You didn't know Bill to have any other handguns.
No.
After the handguns were stolen, that's when Bill started to carry the shotgun.
Yes.
And that's when he kept the shotgun in the car.
Yes.
He had the shotgun in the car routinely in the week after his handguns were stolen.
Yes.
You saw the shotgun in the car,
Yes.
and I think you testified the shotgun was kept in the back seat.
Yes.
And so it wasn't until, I think you said, after the handguns were stolen that Bill put the shotgun in the car.
Right.
And the shotgun was in a case.
No.
It was just laying out there.
Yeah.
He had a case for it,
Yeah.
a sleeve for it, right?
Yeah.
A white sleeve.
Okay.
Maybe not a case, but a covering to it.
Right.
And after Bill discovered the handguns were stolen, Riley was never in the car after that point.
Yeah, he was.
Who is breathing in the
He testified on
microphone?
direct that he was never in the car after the
Lady
handguns.
prosecutor, stop it.
Oh, he was. We went to question somebody, and he came with us the day that we found out that they were stolen.
On October 15th,
Yeah.
you just remembered that now.
Yeah.
You never told the police that,
Mhm.
right?
Right.
You never mentioned that on direct examination.
No.
In fact, when you were asked on direct examination, was Riley ever in the car? You said he wasn't in the car after the handguns were stolen. That was your testimony.
Yes.
At some point, you and Bill went to Tara's house.
Yes.
And Tara lives on Van Street.
Yes.
You knew where she lived.
Yes.
You'd been there before.
Yes.
You went there earlier. You actually followed Tara into her driveway.
Yes.
You parked all the way back at the end of her driveway by the garage.
Yes.
And then you went into Tara's house with Bill.
Yes.
You were asking about the animals.
Yes.
Asking if they had any information about the animals.
Yes.
And you said Daisha provided you.
All right, you guys, I think I figured out the extension. So maybe and hopefully that will work. Y'all know this is a duct tape production, so it might not be what I actually clicked is actually the thing, but I did click a thing.
Some information.
And phrasing, I
Yes.
already know.
And ultimately you left at some point from Tara's house.
Yes.
Before you left, you told Tara you would be back.
I don't remember, but
Thank you. Good. David sent
You're
me
not
dummy
disagreeing
slides.
that you told
I
Tara you
love
would
me
be back.
some dummy
No.
slides.
And then you and Bill drove to Main Street.
we went to
Only on my
Walgreens.
birthday.
You went to Walgreens and then Main Street.
Mhm.
So your testimony today is after you left Tara's house, you went to Walgreens.
Yes.
Do you remember
Y'all
what
are
Walgreens you
degenerates,
went
but
to?
you're my
The
degenerates.
one in
Damn
Wapaka.
it. And I'll fight
Do you
for
remember
you.
which one in Wapaka? Is there more than one?
I don't think so.
Okay. And is that over, do you remember where about in Wapaka that is?
Down Fulton Street, I think.
Not close to Main Street.
No.
It would take you some time to get to Walgreens from Tara's house.
About 5 minutes.
And then from Walgreens to Main Street, it would take you a couple more minutes.
Yeah.
Then you went to Main Street after Walgreens.
Yes.
That's your testimony here today.
Yes.
And when you got to Main Street, there was a police officer there,
Yes.
or the police officer got there after you arrived,
Yes.
and you spoke with that police officer.
Yes.
After you spoke with the police officer, Bill got back in the vehicle.
Yes.
Bill made a phone call.
I don't remember.
And at some point, Bill started to drive the car.
Yes.
And as he was driving, Is that when Danielle called?
Yes.
And Danielle called Bill's phone.
I think so.
And then Bill actually handed the phone to you to answer.
Yes.
And that's when you spoke with Danielle.
Yes.
Danielle said she had Angela on the line.
Yes.
And you spoke with Angela.
Salvador, mark this day on your calendar, and tell the people about it. Today, I learned to use the extension. I know phrasing, but for YouTube, also phrasing. So we can hear. But no, you didn't miss much except for me finally learning how to do it because David sent dummy slides. One day I'll be a fully functioning computer person. I really will. I might
Yes.
just start my own IT company.
And while you were talking to Angela, Bill was driving.
Yes.
And you don't know where Bill was driving.
No.
He ultimately started to drive down School Street.
Sir, this woman doesn't know
I
anything.
don't remember.
You were on the phone
Yes.
with Angela,
Yes.
finding out information about the animals.
Yes.
That created some emotion in you.
Yes.
You weren't really paying attention to Bill driving.
No.
You don't know where Bill was driving to.
No.
But you were generally going in the direction of Van Street.
Yeah.
And Tara lives on Van Street.
Yes.
So as Bill was driving down School Street, driving towards the direction of Tara's house.
Yes.
When you were speaking to Angela, you had never been to Angela's house before.
No.
You knew generally where Angela lived.
No.
Bill knew generally where Angela lived.
Yeah, maybe.
You knew it was somewhere outside of Wyega,
Yeah.
but you didn't know the actual address.
No.
At some point during that phone call, Angela gave you the address.
Yes.
Look, y'all, if I had had this happen to me, or any normal person had this happen to them, there would be some very deeply conflicting emotions. This woman, she's part of the Borg. I don't know what to tell you. She's been lost. She is a replicant.
And at some point during that phone call, you told Angela you had to call the police.
Yes.
Angela told you not to call the police.
Yes.
She said the police were already at her house earlier.
Yes.
And she didn't want trouble. She didn't want the police back.
Right.
You testified that while driving, you saw Riley walking down School Street.
Yes.
And he was walking sort of northwest on School Street.
Yes.
If this lady
This
knows
was
directions, I'm
late at
eating a
night.
shoe.
Yes.
It was after 10 o'clock at night.
I'm not sure.
It was October.
Yes.
It was dark outside.
Yes.
You said you saw Riley.
Yes.
When you saw Riley, Bill didn't say anything about needing to find Riley.
No.
Bill didn't say anything about wanting to find Riley.
No.
Bill's demeanor didn't change.
No. Does she
When
know
you
what
left
demeanor
Main Street,
means?
Bill didn't have any intention to hurt Riley.
Objection.
Sustained.
When you left Main Street, Bill didn't say anything about Riley when you left.
No.
Bill didn't say anything about wanting to hurt Riley.
No.
Bill didn't say anything about using the gun on Riley.
No.
You never.
Swear to goodness, this is turning into the Letitia Stalk trial where we are so excited that we're going to get Letitia possibly on the stand, or we're going to get to hear Maria in the Beverly Lewis tapes. And not only are those filmed on a baked potato by her high as balls son, but Dr. Lewis is also high as balls and perpetually late and nothing. It I'm beginning to get upset. I get all excited that there's gonna be these new bombshell witnesses. Uh, She is yeah, there's not a okay, so here's the deal. I mean, if she has gone through this traumatic experience, there could be she could have shut down, and I want to give her the benefit of the doubt, but she has 14 convictions prior, and it seems like she may or may not have been an unlicensed street pharmacist and or street pharmacist, customer for most of her lights or most of her life. So, I wanna give her the benefit of the doubt that, if I saw my son gunned down in front of me, I mean, regardless of what my son was doing, I would think I would be a wreck, like, regardless, and that's a lot of, cognitive dissonance where, you see your son, but you also see a person that was attacking another person. So, if she were fully functional to begin with, I could see this being a complete you just go into yourself and become an autonomous you become a robot. You don't have you there are too many feelings to process and you just shut down. But this woman has a flat affect no matter what. And if you look at her police interview right after it happened, it seems like flat affect is just kind of her raison d'etre, if you will, her normal.
Or heard Bill threaten Riley.
No.
Now, ultimately, you said Bill turned down to Van Street
Yes.
and drove all the way to the end of Van Street.
Yes.
There's a street light at the end of Van Street.
Yes.
And Bill parked on the side of the road right there.
Yes.
That's right in front of Tara's house.
Yes.
And then Bill got out of the car
Yes.
and you got out of the car.
Yes.
And that's when you saw Riley running.
Yes.
Riley was running towards the car.
Yes.
Riley threw off his jacket.
Yes.
Riley wanted to fight Bill.
Yes.
Riley started yelling at Bill.
Yes.
Riley was yelling about the police.
I don't remember.
We'll pull up a video for you. And this is again on Exhibit 2512 Axon.
And just a moment, can the clerk raise the volume now? 'Cause I couldn't hear at all what was played before.
Okay, Roseanne, we're turning it up. Yes.
And I'm gonna
So before we get into this and not really on that note, but it looks like the state is going to rest after this witness. So we will be moving to the defense. Now, these are typical our people of Walmart cases. So it's not really there's never really a right time in this case to stop and do these particular grifts. But if you know of a case that may or may not be as Walmart as this, please put it in my community section on my Facebook, not my Facebook, my YouTube page. No, your greatest chance of having that happen would have been when we were watching court TV on Monday. And unfortunately, they didn't have any sort of boost commercials because I would have played those. They did have female jazzercise ones that I was vaguely disturbed by. So, but if you guys know, since this case will probably be wrapping up by the end of this week. If you guys know of any other cases that you want me to cover that are coming up, I know that aren't the big ones like the Sarah Boone or, you know, all of that. And if possible, not anything with kids in it for now since I am doing the Delphi case, but I will look into them. If they happen to be funlarious and ridiculous, let me know. Yeah, it's Northern Florida, America's Murder Mittens, Michigan, and Wisconsin have been renamed North Florida.
Start playing at 6 minutes and 52 seconds.
Okay.
And we'll stop right there at 6 minutes and 36 seconds. Oh, 56 seconds. Were you able to hear that, Ms.
Yeah.
Powell? That was you telling the police that Riley was yelling about the police?
Yes.
In fact, the police being at his house earlier.
Yes.
And then Riley started to come at Bill.
Yes.
He started coming at Bill like he was going to attack Bill.
Yes.
At some point, Riley tried to swing at Bill.
I think so.
Do you think so? You're not sure?
I'm not sure.
Okay, we'll play a little clip for you.
This lawyer's like, I am done with you, ma'am. You're gonna remember what you said.
And same exhibit will start at 8 minutes and 57 seconds.
Like, what was he doing?
Trying to want to swing on or something.
We'll stop at that 9 minutes and 2 seconds. You were able to hear that?
Yes.
That was you telling the police officer that Riley tried taking a swing at Bill?
Yes.
At some point, Bill had the shotgun.
Yes.
I think your testimony was you don't know when Bill got the shotgun.
No.
But after Bill got the shotgun, Riley went at him.
Yes.
Riley went at him and the gun went off.
Yes.
Objection.
Why, Roseanne?
She can answer, she can.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to pull up the very end of the doorbell video that we watched a little bit ago.
So he has the cute young attorney to be his audio visual person. I'm telling you, I just need to work out that system.
Okay, and so this is after at some point Bill had got the gun.
Yeah.
Okay, and we're going to play this to the end.
Yeah. Like
And we're going to stop at this point. At this point, you were able to watch the video
Yes.
and you still have the shotgun in your hand.
Yeah.
And you're walking towards the vehicle.
Yes.
And that's when you testified Riley got in the vehicle.
Yes.
And you mentioned on direct that Bill kept a lot of stuff in his vehicle.
Yes.
Knives.
Yes.
And so Riley went into the driver's side.
Yes.
And both,
because if it had happened on a trailer park, it would in fact be the most glaring sign that it is the end times. Like someone broke a seal, someone let out all the forces of supernatural, and y'all, I found pumpkin spice ramen noodles one year. I mean, if that's not a sign of the apocalypse, I don't know. Now, did I end up getting a cup of each of the one for each of the 6 kids to put in their stuff or their stocking? Yes, but still sign of the end times. We are living in the end, people.
you and Bill started to go towards the vehicle.
Yes.
We'll continue to play.
Please God, for 2024.
And we'll stop right there. At that point, we saw that Bill took the shotgun back from you, right?
Yes.
And Riley got out of the vehicle.
Yes.
And you're sort of near the back of the vehicle.
Yes.
Okay, we'll continue to play a little bit more. And we'll stop. So you can see the flashlight on the shotgun,
Yes.
and you can see that the flashlight is pointed towards the ground.
Yes.
And that's Riley sort of walking closer to Bill.
Yes.
And Bill's not pointing the shotgun at Riley.
No.
And in fact,
mean,
it kind of looks like he's
The defense is doing a really good job of showing that Bill has, his weapon at low ready. He is practicing good. Okay, well, look, there were life choices made as far as having reptiles, having a girlfriend while married, all those things. But at least in this particular case, he is not, lighting him up with the danger end of the weapon and that kind of thing. Now, it is amazing what door or these Ring doorbell cameras catch, because if you can imagine if Bill was trying to, you know, prove this case in self-defense or reckless accident or what have you, if they didn't have the Ring doorbell on, I mean, y the state's best witness is this chick who can't remember if she's chewing gum between breaths, and, yeah. It would have been hard. So I'm torn between I really don't want a bunch of cameras always watching me, um, and oh my gosh, if I'm ever in any sort of anything, I want all the cameras so they
backing
can
up.
catch me being good.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll play some more. And we'll stop right there. So that was Bill walking and then bending down to pick something up.
Yes.
And Riley coming towards him.
Yes.
And Bill still has the shotgun in his hands.
Yes.
In the shotgun, we can actually see the flashlight pointed towards the ground.
Yes.
And the flashlight's pointing where the gun is pointing, right?
Right.
And so
Yes, they
Bill's
tend to
actually
do
still
that.
pointing the gun on the ground.
Right.
He's not pointing it
Yeah,
at
I mean,
Riley.
imagine if
No.
Kyle had tried
Okay,
to
we'll
do
continue to play that. And we'll stop right there. So now Bill's
well,
sort of behind the vehicle,
Right.
and he's still pointing the shotgun on the ground.
Yeah.
He's not pointing the shotgun at Riley.
No.
Okay, we'll play it one last second. And that's where that video ends.
Yes.
And so Bill sort of, and we'll just bring it to the very last portion of this. So that's where the video ends. Bill still has the shotgun pointed towards the ground.
Right.
And then Riley is on the other side of you away from Bill.
Yeah.
And so you're facing Riley at that point.
Yeah.
And at that point is when Riley went at Bill,
Yes.
and then the gun went off.
Yes.
So when Riley went at Bill from that position, you had to turn around and look.
Yeah.
And the way you were facing would have been facing towards Tara's house.
Yeah.
And that's the same way Riley would have been facing to go at Bill.
Yeah. I think so.
So Riley's back would have been to you.
Yeah.
You couldn't see the front of Riley.
No.
oh, I am so done with Roseanne Barr now. Her back was facing this scuffle or browl, if you will. And she's got I will uh, look, the state has already been so disingenuous with this. Like, look, I get it. Riley had a son. Riley has a son that will never see his dad. And that is tragic. And that is sad that someone lost their life. But there were choices made. And choices have consequences. And if you don't raise your kids to be aware and to realize that real life is going to smack you in the face with consequences when you act like a jackass, uh, then I can't. Yeah, well, she didn't seem like the sharpest tool in the shed, and then she decided to This is your brain on chemical enhancements not made by Pfizer. So while my heart grieves for a mother who's lost her child, my logic says that, at some point, when you are, going after a person, at some point, choices are made. It's either you or them. And I don't,
We talked about that when Bill was driving sort of in this direction, you had been on the phone,
Yes,
and again, you were on Bill's phone.
yes,
After the gun went off, Bill told you to call 911,
yes,
and you had Bill's phone.
yes.
You had to go
I
inside the
know,
car to get Bill's
like,
phone.
who wore it
Yes.
better? We are going to have to, when I get my whiteboard, I have the one kind of zero it in I want to look at. I will post a picture up on my community tab and give you guys an idea. But f- just all the whys. I I can't. Yeah, every single witness has
And
been
then you
Yes.
found Bill's phone
Yes,
a guest
in the
of the
car.
state.
yes,
You dialed 911,
yes,
and then you handed the phone back to Bill,
yes,
and Bill spoke to 911.
yes,
Now, a quick reminder that Bill used to be a police officer years back. So if he goes immediately into, here's the problem, here's relaying information, that is not as suspect or, unusual to me if he is former law enforcement. He knows exactly what facts, any officer arriving is going to need. And he's, just relaying things kind of matter of factly. That's kind of how I react in, serious situations. I get down to, okay, what needs to get done? Emotions kind of leave, and I just go to, okay, what can I do to help? And where do I need to start organizing things?
Your Honor, may I approach?
You may.
Tiffany, I'm handing you what's been marked exhibit number 15, and I'll take back this exhibit.
Are we assuming she can read? Not to be hateful
That's
or
a
anything, but
phone call log that I handed to you. And it's Bill's phone log. Can you
facts are
look
not in
at
evidence.
the second call from the very top? Do you see that?
yes,
That's the phone call to 911.
yes,
That would have been when you dialed 911
yes,
on Bill's phone
yes,
and then handed the phone to Bill.
yes,
And it has the date that phone call was made,
yes,
October 19th of 2020.
Yes.
It is debatable and
And it has the
questionable.
time that
We
that
will
phone
never
call was
know.
made.
yes,
And that says 10:20 and 3 seconds p.m.
yes,
Well, we're bringing out the big whiteboard. This is probably one of the best demonstratives. So, like
Can you see
David,
that okay?
the actual lawyer, um, explained demonstratives aren't things that the jury can take back. They're not legally considered evidence, if you will, but they're ways to present evidence in a way that's easily digestible for the jury. And this particular one has just been awesome. So it is really good to show just how quickly this all happened because sometimes the way the prosecutor will spin it is that you had so much time to make choices in a life or death situation.
Yes.
And so I wrote 10:20 and 3 seconds PM, Bill speaks to 911.
Yes.
That's accurate based on what we just talked about.
Yes.
Now, after this incident, you were charged with a crime, right?
Yes.
You were charged with several crimes.
Yes.
One of those crimes was first-degree intentional homicide.
Yes.
You pled guilty to a lesser crime.
Yes.
You were sentenced to prison,
Yes.
and that's where you are.
Yes.
Prison's not a fun place to be.
No.
You don't plan on moving for several years.
Correct.
Well, maybe not in prison, but later. Seems kind of mean to ask her about moving. Not that I'm not here for it, because
That's not the first time you've been convicted of a crime.
No.
yeah,
You've been
it
convicted
feels like the
14
entire
times.
county might be
Yes.
a little. So I do wonder if he left the police force of his own accord or there were some uh, internal affair investigation. He seems to be good with affairs. Um,
I have no further questions at this time.
Do you expect your redirect to be lengthy or
No, Your Honor.
redirect then?
You were present when, Bill called 911?
Yes.
I'm gonna play that call and it will be on State's Exhibit 14. It's labeled 911 call. Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm on the corner of Beaubourn and Van Street. I'm sorry, Van Street.
Okay, so 9 guesses out of 10, she is going to use this as the fact that he is not tore up right now, that he just shot someone. And like I just said, he used to be a police officer. Now, with the defense that they are using, I foresee, again, in my layman's opinion, that they are going to have to call Bill. So, Bill has a couple of things going for him despite his face that looks a bit creepy. He was a former law enforcement officer, so he knows he's going to be under cross. He knows how to stop, listen, Think about the question and not fall into the trap of just answering yes, 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 so they can get you into a rhythm and get you to admit to something. Yeah. I don't know. The man looks we don't know why he's in the wheelchair. We don't know why he looks so sick, but he does look like he has not been in the best of health.
Street. Van and Shepherd Street? Yes. What's going on? Friday minute, was walking home, I confronted him, he attacked me, and I shot him. I tried to tase him and coming in. What's that? Is he alive? Yes, he's alive. Where was he shot? In the chest. Hold on 1 second, okay?
Well, I was trying to be nice. Look, I just want to get to purgatory.
You heard Bill make that call?
Yes.
Did Bill ever check to see if Riley was alive?
No.
Was
Did
Riley
you
moving?
check, ma'am?
No.
Was Riley saying anything?
No.
At that time, did you have any idea if Riley was alive?
No.
Now, I want to play the
You
video
know, touched.
one more time.
Oh, for the love of goodness. She's just going to say yes if you ask her a question. She's not calculating in this way. She may be cunning, but she's not calculating.
Now, Riley
Okay,
is
guys,
standing still.
I'm going to pretend to be a body language expert. It seems like she fidgets when she's nervous. Or maybe she's just DTing. And I know you guys, the church lady vids are going to be coming out tomorrow because y'all, it takes a little bit to get church lady's hair going. I'm going to be very honest with you. So, Thursday, we have, if you guys have a particular Dr. G video that you would like me to react to as church lady, I need you. If Walmart, it is not said during the rest of it. Oh my gosh. Walmart Walmart rage is the very worst. It is just, oh my gosh. It is the most horrible place ever. No, you calm down. I am going to solicit Dr. G videos that you guys would like to have church lady react to because he seems to be your not very favorite friend. So if you want to put that if you guys, most of you are members on the MLS Discord. So, I have my own little chatty thing. So you can put those requests down there. I love my children. They're awesome and loud. It's never the good quiet ones that just want to stay in the room. No, it's the loud ones. But if you guys have particular people that he analyzes that you would like me to see react to. Also, um, I know you are going to be super shocked, but I am not a fan of the rap music. Now, the church lady reacts to Young Thug Life and Melly videos will be on Rumble because I have a feeling that just partially listening to those videos would nuke my channel from orbit. So I do have a Rumble. I am trying to figure out how to use it. Y'all know this is a duct tape, prayers, and holy water kind of thing. I'm going to let you guys watch this video again and go check on the heathens and
And there's only 6 houses on Van Street, so he's 2 houses from the end of the street. And he's standing there. When Mr. Hogan asked you if Riley was charging Bill, you said yes. But Riley's standing there and Bill's going to Riley, isn't that true?
Yes.
So is Riley charging Bill or is Bill charging Riley?
Bill's charging Riley.
And what I see on that video is that Bill is trying to catch Riley, not that Riley's trying to catch Bill.
Your Honor, objection, the prosecutor is
I'll
testifying.
sustain. Rephrase your question.
Do you see Riley attacking Bill or Bill attacking Riley?
Bill attacking Riley.
Really, ma'am? I don't.
Riley runs away from Bill, isn't that true?
Yes.
He's
And you said
running.
Riley got in the car?
Yes.
How long was he in the car?
Not long.
Seconds?
Yeah, he was acting like he was gonna take it, but he can't drive stick.
So that's a manual transmission.
Well, ma'am,
He had been in the car before though.
Yeah.
Did he even try to put it
well,
into
John
gear?
Gary, we have to have
I don't
other
think so.
opinions. It sharpens our own. I have not seen the. 1 second. I have not seen the Zachariah Anderson trial. I am going to watch it on my own time when I have a time, when there is a time. Um, and honestly, I want to see it for myself. I've heard there's many inconsistencies, very big shenanigans. I am not sure. Like I said, but I do trust and I do listen to the other opinions of people. Y Pretty much. Oh my gosh. This woman is you just ask
Did
her a
you
leading
ever see the
question.
taillights come on while Riley was in the car?
No.
Now, at this time, when the gun's pointed at the ground, you testified that you were standing between Bill and Riley.
Yes.
And I thought Mr. Hogan asked you if you were facing Riley or if you were facing Bill. And I wasn't sure of your answer.
She doesn't
I
know.
was facing Bill, I think.
We can't, can you tell from the picture?
No.
So if you were facing Bill, were you protecting Riley?
No,
I don't know.
she was not
Well,
protecting her
Riley was
son.
behind you.
She pointed a weapon at her son.
So
She once talked
at
about,
that point, if Bill had raised the gun, it would have been pointing at you.
Right.
and he didn't.
You were standing in front of Riley.
Sure,
Is that
ma'am.
Correct.
Y'all, this prosecutor is about to make me. She's testing the very Jesus in me, I swear, because she was not protecting her son. Her son was just standing behind her so he could take off his daggone shirt and fanny pack.
Now, my recollection, when I asked you if Riley was ever in the car after the theft of the animals, you said you weren't sure.
Right.
But since then, you remembered an incident when he was in the car.
Yes.
When the gun was in the car, was it always in a case or was it sometimes just open in the car?
Sometimes it was just open in the car.
When you stopped the car on Van Street, you knew where the animals were.
Yes.
Think of a question, Kathy. Come on, you can do it. Now, Hogan has probably been writing
Anything further,
down.
Mr. Hogan?
Ms. Powell, when the Bill stopped the car in Van Street, you just testified you knew where the animals were
Yes.
because you were talking to Danielle and Angela.
Yes.
Now, you said you were there when Bill was talking to 911.
Yes.
You heard on that 911 call Bill say, "I need an ambulance."
Yes.
Sounded like Bill was out of breath a little bit.
Yes.
You said when Riley got in the car, it looked like he might try to steal the car,
Yeah.
but he can't drive stick shift.
Right.
Do you know how to drive a stick shift?
Yes.
Or Riley doesn't.
No.
Driving a stick shift can be hard, right?
Yes.
Harder than a manual or an automatic transmission.
Yes.
It's like extra pedals you need to press.
Yes.
One of them is a clutch.
Yes.
Hey, every time you go to Walmart and you end up not in an orange jumpsuit, it's a good day.
And sometimes if you press them in the wrong order, you can stall the vehicle out
Yes.
and then the car can't go anywhere.
And I call facts not an evidence. This chick doesn't know how to drive stick shift. That requires hand-eye brain coordination. And I already know I don't have that. I don't claim to have that, but this woman has it. X to doubt.
Right.
When you park the car, you put the parking brake on.
Right.
You testified at the beginning of the video, this doorbell video that we saw, when everyone's in front of the house with the doorbell, you testified Riley's standing still.
Right.
But of course, Riley didn't just magically appear in that position, right?
Right.
He had come down from, you had seen him on School Street.
Yes.
And so at some point he came from School Street to where we saw him standing in the road.
Yes.
It's when you testified that he came running at the car, he came running down Van Street.
Yes.
And at some point he stopped.
Yes.
And we saw when he stopped, that's when Bill handed you the gun.
Yes.
And that's when I think we heard on there something about a taser.
Yes.
We think we heard Riley say, "Put down the taser."
Yes.
And Bill said, "I'm not going to put it down."
Yeah.
And then both of Bill and Riley started squaring off with each other.
Yes.
Listen, that's how I would say it, so I'm not going to fault him.
And at the very end, you testified you don't know if you were facing Riley or facing Bill at the end of that video.
Right.
But just seconds before, you weren't directly in the middle of Riley and Bill.
Right.
And when you weren't right between Riley and Bill still didn't have the gun pointed at Riley.
I don't know.
Well, we can back up that video just a few seconds. Sure.
Sorry.
Oh,
I'm
it's
sorry,
fine.
which table? I have it up, okay.
Okay, yeah, if we could just back up. So, Ms. Powell, at that point, you're not directly in the middle of Bill and Riley.
Mm.
And so we still see that the flashlight is pointed towards the ground.
Yes.
It's good to have people
And so
that
if Bill
disagree
had
so
pointed
we
it
can
at Riley,
always
he wouldn't be
sharpen
pointing it at you.
our arguments
No.
against each other, and where John, you're
I have
always
nothing
pretty
further.
respectful, and
Anything further, Ms. Isherwood?
Just one question. When you talked to Danielle and Angela, did you have the phone on speaker?
Yes.
Because you can actually hear Bill on the call. He talked to them as well.
Yes.
I have nothing further.
I
I
assume
do
nothing
not.
further.
I
No,
know nothing.
We will
about
take a
that.
morning recess then.
Good Lord,
Your
that's an
Honor,
extension.
if I
That's
can
super
make
loud.
one statement,
Yes.
subject to getting the exhibits entered and admitted and accounted for, the state rests.
During the break,
Okay.
we will decide what's received and then to let the jury go.
I do wonder if they're going to try the directed verdict thing. Yeah, we are a little behind, so we are going to see if they're going to do any actual. Core TV or whatever feed usually cuts off sound, but I'm also hoping you guys look, we will have an entire Zachariah Anderson me watching the whole thing to see how I feel about it sometime. Probably when the kids get back from school or back into school, to be very honest with you, because it's a bit like herding wild goats
Your
on
Honor, the state is
Fun Dips.
completed with this witness, but we are asking that she be held.
Okay, she may be taken back to the jail then, but she is not released. So we are back on the record, obviously. According to my notes, Exhibit 9 has not been identified yet.
That's correct.
And you're not moving that, so I'll take it.
That's correct.
So otherwise, I have 1 through 8 received, 10 through 13 received. Obviously, there's been a lot of discussion about 14, which is your electronic, you characterize as state electronic
I
evidence for
cannot
Monday.
keep my eyes off
But
of
that's
his
basically just
hairpiece.
been being played, so I assume that's received.
Hey,
Has,
John, let's
has there
just
been a
not
complete
let this
disclosure
become
of all
a.
the contents?
We
There
will
has
have an
been, what we will
entire
submit is only
that
what has
particular
been played.
case
And we
trial
just have
thing.
it broken down on the disc as
I
what
don't want
we
it to
entered
devolve
on
in.
Monday, what we entered on Tuesday as subfolders on 14. If
Yeah,
there is anything on there that we did not offer or play, we will remove it.
Okay. Well, then
I swear to
see, that's
goodness,
received with the understanding.
my teachers had that
Then
same
I
outfit.
have exhibits.
And I love me a cardigan, but
15
ma'am, that is
and
not a
16
suit.
received.
I would like you in a suit.
Then I have exhibits 17 through 27 have all been identified. None have been offered or received.
And at this time, we would move to enter all of those.
Any objection?
No, I know some of those were the defenses, so no objection to any of those coming in.
They're all received then?
Thanks, guys. Yeah,
And that was
I don't mind
27,
difference of
did you say?
That
opinion,
was
but we
through
will have
27. Then I
that
have
entire
exhibit 28, which
conversation
is a
later. And you are
statement of
welcome to come in
Cardell Renfro, which
and
has been identified, not offered or received.
That was a
and
defense exhibit.
you know, we can
I would offer
discuss
that.
and you can
Any objection?
No,
you know
Your
give
Honor.
me your ideas on where you
Received.
think in the trial.
29 was Daisha
Okay.
Bartle.
So it doesn't sound like the defense is going to ask for a directed verdict
70
unless
and
it's
71,
proper to
those
do it
were
at the end
defense
of evidence. So
measurements.
And I would offer those as well at this time.
Any objection?
No, Your Honor.
They are received. And then the last one I have is messages from Tiffany Powell's phone from Mackenzie.
And I would offer those at this time as well.
Any objection?
No, but I would like to talk a little bit about Exhibit 25 before we're done with this.
Okay.
25 is this defense's electronic exhibit. If we have more exhibits during the next section of the case, we're gonna have another flash drive with different exhibits because we're considering 14 to be done and closed now. It's been
Okay.
received. I just wanna see how the defense is gonna do theirs. There was a lot of information shown. I just wanna make a clear record because you've received 25 and so I assume there's not gonna be any more new evidence from 25?
There, I believe, are a couple of other additional things on there that may still come out.
Well, then those should be identified in some fashion. What 25 that's been received would have been what has been played so far.
Okay. Yeah, and I know every time that we showed or played anything,
You have identified the accent and the numbers, and that's
right.
We kind of when all those text messages
Hello,
were being
Cindy
shown,
Lou.
I don't know how they were identified on the flash drive.
As I indicated yesterday, they were identified as message with the person I discussed when asking the question of that officer.
So nothing more from 25 will go on. Will you start a new flash drive if you have more evidence? Or are there items on 25 that have not been identified?
There's more that have not been identified.
So I just want the court to address how
So
that will be.
what David said is that now there was some kerfuffle yesterday about a police officer that sat in during some of the testimony, so he did not follow the rules of sequestration. Now, that was the officer that looked perpetually surprised at everything the defense said about, what to get off of Celebrite and things like that. So, technically, David explained that the prosecution is allowed to have one lead investigator that kind of stays as sort of an expert witness, and an expert witness can give their opinion and can sit through trial, like, oh God, John, Dr. John Black from the Kyle Rittenhouse case. So he stayed in the trial the entire time writing notes. Well, typically, if you're a witness, you're not allowed to be in the trial because that would, however you hear things, you might be tempted to sway your testimony. So the state is given kind of a default expert witness and the lead investigator. So he is allowed to stay there, take notes, and kind of give you all the policey stuff, as far as I understand it. It's a sentient hairpiece. Yeah, so it's while it's jarring to see him in, because usually they're detectives and I think they're in a kind of a suit and tie. So maybe they just didn't have a detective, or their detectives work in.
I think the record needs to know what's in as the case in chief and what will be in as a defense case.
It does need to be clarified, so if you have additional, perhaps, can you do, download in the form of a flash drive for any of the additional elements, or?
I will have to look
Uh,
into that.
Yeah, I mean, we can do that.
I dove into the Kyle Rittenhouse trial. Like, that was my first law tube, unofficial trademark sort of trial. And I only joined it when that clip of them all going, directed judgment goes viral. That's when I started watching it because I had broken my foot and had to sit down. Oh my gosh, it's hilarious. Yeah, that was maybe the one misstep in the defense of Kyle Rittenhouse that I really thought um, was kind of a misstep, because I think they had kind of stipulated to not using John Black as a defense witness because they were going to let the state use their own witness. Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, but we also got Havoc out of it, and I think for the most part, and Photo Chad.
Know which of them will be used,
No,
but we
it's
can
not
certainly do
weird
that.
because I didn't watch
Thank you.
the
Just trying to make a clear record. It's not easy in a case like this.
yes.
Zachariah Anderson or the Murdaugh case because I was just not
8,
very interested.
that has not been received either, thank you.
Oh, okay,
Nine's
Sal,
not been
maybe you remember.
identified. Number 8 was identified, and that was a picture of Mr. Zelinski's hands. I'm
Yes,
sorry.
and I thought I had moved that in when the pathologist was testifying. But I would move to admit it now.
I assume no objection.
No objection.
Received. Thank you.
Grandma
So
was
9
awesome.
has been marked, never identified, and otherwise everything else has been received, I believe.
Yes, I agree.
Okay. Um, So you're resting after we advise the jury that everything's been received?
Yes.
So do you know, Mr. Hogan, is your client going to be testifying? Or do you need time to talk to him? Because we will certainly need to voir dire him at some point in time.
I will talk with him, but the defense does have additional witnesses, some of which should be out in the hallway already.
Okay, so we don't need to address that issue until later.
Correct.
So then let's take a morning recess.
Your Honor, before we take a recess, since the state has rested, at this time I would ask for a directed verdict in this case.
And I will deny your request. Looking at the evidence, there's certainly a basis that there could be a finding of an intentional homicide here, so your motion's denied. So we will recess then.
Okay, y'all, I want that chair. I want that chair. Like, I want the judge's chair. I need that in my life. Let's turn back the clock, turn forward the clock. All right. You know, I'm hoping that we have assets, instead of maybe sending our assets to do ridiculous things in Europe, we could allegedly not founded, possibly. I wish that we could do something to help them, but I also look, maybe it was their bucket list dream thing, but you are not getting me in a tin can with one bathroom with 5 people to go down to, you know, God's deep graveyard to see the Titanic. I done seen it in the movie. I am fine. Yeah, Brooks was at the same time entertaining and infuriating. You could just not imagine a person being so completely blind to how to read the room and so completely blind to other people's suffering to make it about himself. I mean, it was just Yes, I need this particular judge's seat, not hair. I hope they're not going Hunger Games. Yeah, no.
Please be seated.
I mean, at least he tries to sit up straight in the chair.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, during the break, the state rested. The court received all of the exhibits that have been identified, so now Mr. Hogan will call his first witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. At this time, the defense would call Officer Grant.
Oh, they're getting an officer. This is the part of the trial I've actually been waiting for because this defense has been on. Okay, well, apparently there is no men's warehouse.
Thomas Grant.
You solemnly swear the testimony you're about to provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
You may be seated.
Officer, can you tell me how you're employed?
I'm a full-time police officer with the City of Waupaca Police Department.
How long have you
Officer,
been
what
in
do you
office?
do? No.
April 2017 was when I was
Crochet
hired
I'm
full-time with the
upset,
City of
and I like
Waupaca.
long walks on the
Prior to
beach.
that, I believe it was 2010, I started part-time as a reserve deputy with the county.
And what sort of training do you need to have to become an officer?
There's a recruit academy. At the time, I believe it was 520 hours when I went through it. Now it's up to 720.
Which kind of equals
And
out
when
to
would have
90
you completed
days.
that?
So seriously, we need more police
I want to
training.
say end of 2011.
And then after you completed that, that's when you were sworn in as a police officer?
That's when I became certified.
Okay.
Oh, let
And
me turn my
I think you testified in 2017 is when you were employed by Wapaka Police Department.
April of 2017, correct.
And what role do you currently have with the Wapaka Police Department?
yeah,
In,
I turned
want to say
myself
June
down.
of 2020.
I turned myself down before I figured out how to do the add-on plugin to increase the court's sound. So I just put myself up a little higher now. Yeah. I finally figured out how to do a thing on the internet, and we are just so proud of me.
I took the position of the narcotics investigator.
And that's a special position?
It's a lateral transfer, just a different position than patrol.
And as part of that, do you have any additional specialized training that you needed to complete for that?
Well, I had
Since getting the
lit
position, I
codes
have been to
and-
additional training. I want to say last year I went to DCI's drug investigation school.
And DCI is?
Department of Criminal Investigations are for the state of Wisconsin.
And what types of things did you learn at that DCI program?
Drug trends, different drugs, how they're packaged, transported, values, different investigative methods, search warrants, other warrants, just the full realm of
No,
doing a
you
drug
guys are
investigation.
fine. I'd much rather
Were
you
you-
guys be able to hear me. I'm just I finally figured out how to do it again. Thank you, David from MLS Law Show, for sending dummy slides, because that is the only way I learn.
You taught how to identify somebody who may be on drugs.
Yes, we looked at behaviors and different things that and how they affect an individual or individuals.
And as part of that training, or in your experience since 2020,
I'm going to be
have
designing
you
my
had
own video
experience dealing
games.
with people
by the end
suspected to
of the
be on
year.
drugs?
Yes,
I mean, what kinds of drugs?
marijuana, mushrooms, acid or LSD, methamphetamine, cocaine, heroin, fentanyl.
I want to ask you some questions about behaviors associated with meth use.
I really need to I need to see if Riley licked any of these toads. I have a feeling they all licked some toads, if you know what I mean. I feel like, yeah, it wasn't so much the exotic reptiles for, just liking reptiles. It was like, hey, look at this Mexican tree frog.
You said you're experienced with that.
Yes,
What kind of behaviors might somebody exhibit while on meth?
meth is very erratic. Individuals that are on it, they can be very down, but most of the time they're pretty elevated because it is an upper. Very paranoid. That's probably the most obvious sign. They think things are there that aren't there. Aggressive, just very erratic. It would be the best way I can describe it.
I need this witness to say, look, all the people that you saw from the state in the red and orange, yeah, that's what meth would look like. Any questions? The previous witness.
Would one behavior be feelings of increased physical strength?
It could.
What about impulse control? Does it have an impact on somebody's impulse control?
It could.
In what way?
They'll stay up for days, if not a week at a time. I know a lot of people that'll just clean uncontrollably, and other activities they'll just do uncontrollably.
And are those behaviors fairly common?
Individuals specific, I would say.
Okay.
And sometimes it depends. I mean, obviously, we don't know all the time what the drugs are cut with, so that could be a factor as well. But I would say individually, it's specific to an individual typically.
And I think you termed meth users as sort of unpredictable.
Yes.
And that would be probably the best term to describe them.
Yes.
Okay. I have nothing further at this time.
You talked about some of the drugs that are now being cut with different substances. Are you seeing that more now than you did in 2020?
I was relatively new in 2020 to the position. And obviously I've had my eyes opened a lot more being in this role.
Y'all, the amount of shock that I would have if I woke up one morning and my house was fully cleaned and sparkling might kill me because look, we keep it clean, but like sparkling, like you did a deep clean, like your mother-in-law is coming over, that is achieved maybe once or twice a year and with many nervous breakdowns.
I would say yes, just because of those factors. We went from seeing speedballs being heroin coke to being fentanyl meth. We're seeing coke cut with fentanyl. I mean, there's just so many varieties right now. It's hard to keep up with.
Yes, tell
Do
us all about the
people,
speedballs.
get a tolerance to a drug if they use it a lot?
They do. The best way I ever heard this explained to me in one of my trainings, and I can't speak to what training that was, is when you think about alcohol and somebody has their first drink, they really feel that first one. But then after that, they're always chasing that next high. And we really correlate that when we talk about heroin, because that's an opiate. So it started with heroin, and now you see people going to fentanyl and carfentanil and the next synthetic, because they're always chasing that next high.
So as far as meth, can you say build up a tolerance to meth?
I
Where
think those are
you
his
need
real
more in
shoulders.
order to get high?
I would say so. Individuals I've interviewed that have been on it have talked about starting out just snorting it or ingesting it and then going to other methods of smoking or injecting just to get that high faster and quicker.
And for the entire time that they're under the influence of a substance, do they have expected behavior that entire time? Or does it hit them and then taper off, but it's still in their system?
I can't speak to the whole totality of while they're on it, because everybody's different, different tolerances, stuff like that.
Has every single person you've seen on meth been aggressive?
Not every single person.
Has every single person you've seen on meth had impulse control?
No, there's some really good ones.
No.
They just work at,
Has every single person
the
you've
Good
seen on
Samaritan
meth
food pantry.
been paranoid?
No.
Have you ever known of anybody who tested positive for meth, but you didn't even guess they were on it?
Yes, that happens.
So today you can't say with any
Okay. Are we going to say that Riley didn't give off real big meth vibes? Like we would be shocked and alarmist, to learn that our lovely Riley, who also had, a prison rap sheet, was on, the crystalness. I don't know if I need to make that a t-shirt when I get a merch store, but it might could be a thing. This guy, he's like I like the beard. I like the bald head because again, in poor Mr. Mo, okay, y'all, when I was pregnant with my second son, so that would have been my fifth kid, pregnant Mo thought that Mr. Mo looked extremely handsome bald. Now, looking back at those pictures, Mr. Mo looked extremely like he was on the Make-A-Wish Foundation. So, I am not to be trusted with any hair, changes while hormonal.
kind of certainty what any individual on meth, what their behavior would be?
No, it's like I said, it's very erratic.
Okay.
No, he was doing the quadratic equation.
What about THC? Does that kind of have the opposite effect?
Usually it's a relaxing or a calming effect. Almost like a downer, but not.
Mellow, I think was the
Mellow.
term from the 60s.
That'd be a good description.
And so what about somebody who's
Okay.
doing meth and
Y'all in the chat, how much LSD did the prosecutor lady take during the 70s? Because I think she might have tripped balls.
THC?
Again, the meth is very erratic.
But the THC could mellow them.
Possibly, yes.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Redirect.
Officer, with respect to somebody using both methamphetamine and THC, would it depend on the amount of each substance used?
I suppose it could. I'm not a chemical expert.
I'm not a rocket surgeon,
Like I
if you will.
said, drugs affect everybody so different. So then you start incorporating 2 drugs, and that can really change the way things are for an individual.
So if somebody was on 2 substances, would it potentially make them even more unpredictable?
I know.
It could.
I know. Yeah, can we leave, things that look, there are, THC that are just for ridiculousness and relaxation if it's legal in your area. But there are people who, use it for pain management and um, seizure management and things like that. Yeah, I don't even poor cops.
You indicated, or you talked about building up a tolerance. In individuals who build up a tolerance, would they still display behaviors associated with drug use?
I believe so.
Nothing further.
What are the effects of acid use?
That I haven't seen a lot of. I've taken it off individuals and seized it in different search warrants. I can't say that I've ever had an individual on it personally.
Thank you. I have nothing further.
You may step down.
He is a narcotics officer, so I don't know that the defense is trying to save money and bring a narcotics officer. Well, I believe from what I saw, and maybe John Gary put it up, that he was in foster homes starting at 14, in and out of those, that, he could have started very, very young if he had a chaotic childhood. And having seen Tiffany, I have no doubt that he had a chaotic childhood.
I take it this officer's released.
Yes, Your Honor.
For today,
Well, so we don't know the results. Or maybe we did talk about them, but I don't know that we know the results of the blood talks for Bill. So I don't know if Bill maybe had some acid in him while this all went down. Probably, sadly, very sadly.
It sounds like you may be subject to recall. We call your next witness.
this time the defense would
Okay,
call.
y'all, I hate to be a meanie, but that man needs a suit jacket because his nipular area was just, it must be cold in that room, and I just need him to have a jacket on because I am not mature enough to not make a joke.
Billy Robbins.
Thank you, John Gary. Well, that's flattering. Oh, she is professional. And she's got the claw hammer bang.
Raise your right hand and
You know this woman went to school in the
Billy Robbins,
80s.
do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? I do.
Well, they detract from his eyes, so. Oh, don't lean over too far, ma'am.
Ms. Robbins, how are you employed?
I'm employed at the Wisconsin State Crime Lab in Wausau.
And
Ooh.
what is your responsibility at the State Crime Lab?
Currently, I am the forensic scientist supervisor. I oversee all of the scientific staff at the laboratory.
And what was your role in November of 2020?
In 2020, I was a controlled substance analyst who also did alcohol analysis for the toxicology unit.
And how long have you been employed there?
Since July of 2011.
And
Jamie,
did
are you
need any
ignoring
sort of
him? Did
specialized?
David have to come to my chat to find you, Jamie? You know. Oh, Wong. Well, Court TV or Law and Cuck is doing better, although between Court TV and Law and Cuck, they could not get the first 30 minutes of of the testimony for, well, front runner for Wakapa County Miss Meth of the Year. I'm at 3 hours, y'all. I don't have to care. And yeah, holy crap, did we almost see some boobies fall out when Uh, yeah, it's almost she is like Jane Goodall looking through the mist at all the gorillas, just, kind of like, they're weird, they're kinda like us, but they're not really. I often feel like Jane Goodall or David Attenborough when I'm in Walmart. "Alright, I'm going back because we're we're gonna s roll the record back." Okay, now as she bends over
Nothing but the truth, so help you God. I do. Maybe
to put her folder down or something, she's got a cowl neck, and yeah, there's almost some boobular
Ms.
areas.
Robbins, how are you employed?
I'm employed at the Wisconsin State Crime Lab in Wausau.
And what is your responsibility at the State Crime Lab?
Currently, I am the forensic scientist supervisor. I oversee all of the scientific staff at the laboratory.
And you did
And what was
miss,
your role
man
in
boobs with nipples
November
out,
of
so
2020?
well, I mean,
In 2020, I was a controlled substance analyst who also did alcohol analysis for the toxicology unit.
And how long have you been employed there?
Since July of 2011.
And did you need any sort of specialized education or training to do that job?
I have a master's degree in biomedical science. I have a master's degree in forensic science. I have a bachelor's degree in biomedical science. I have a bachelor's degree in psychology, and I have a minor in chemistry.
And in your role at the State Crime Laboratory, do you engage in any additional education or training?
Yes, I do.
And what sort of education and training?
I received on-the-job training in both the controlled substances and toxicology unit. I have attended various national and international training seminars for organizations such as Clandestine Lab Investigating Chemists. I have attended the Robert Borkenstein training on alcohol and traffic safety, as well as various webinars that were pertinent to my duties.
okay,
And
that has to be the funnest last name ever, Borkenstein. I would have my name on my T-shirt if I were Miss Borkenstein. I don't know why. I would just make everyone giggle. I would make everyone giggle because my name would be
with respect
Borkenstein.
to the Bill Zelensky case, how were you involved in this case?
I received a blood kit to test for the presence or absence of alcohol.
And how do you do that?
I first received the kit and I open it up and take notes about what I got. In most cases, we receive 2 gray-topped tubes in some type of a box. I label the tubes with the case number, my initials and date, and if there were 2 tubes, I select one for testing. And then I test it using a gas chromatograph with headspace.
And do you draft any sort of reports?
Yes, I do.
And is that fairly common to do?
Yes.
Did you do so in this case?
Yes, I did.
I can almost hear Nicholas in the background, like the Ricola man. Like they have an expert that takes notes and follows standard, operating procedure. This can't be happening in America. And then he remembers that this isn't Georgia.
Ms. Robbins, I'm handing you what's been marked Exhibit 73. Can you identify that?
Exhibit 73 is a report I authored for crime laboratory case number W20-1760.
And what's detailed in that report?
It states the agency who submitted the case to us along with their case number. It has my signature, the signature of our laboratory director. It has the case name of a victim in this case, and then it states what I received. So in this case, it was blood recovered from William Zielinski on October 20th, 2020. That was drawn at 01:33 hours, so 1:33 a.m. It was received at the crime lab on October 22nd of 2020, and then it.
So I'm wondering if this is where the acid is going to come in, because the prosecutor out of nowhere asked about acid with the last witness.
Lists the testing performed and the results.
And so that blood sample that you received on, I think you said you received it on October 26th, or the state crime lab did?
The 22nd.
22nd. And that was drawn on October 20th at 1:33 a.m.?
Correct.
And that's the blood sample that you performed the testing on?
Correct.
And what was the result of your testing?
That there was no ethanol detected. Ethanol is the drinking type of alcohol.
And are
As
you
opposed to
aware
the
that
rubbing
alcohol
kind of
can
alcohol.
be absorbed into somebody's system?
Yes.
Is there a standard rate at which that occurs?
Alcohol absorption can be dependent on different type of factors. Are you drinking in more of a social drinking setting that you're, sitting around on the couch or at a barbecue, slowly drinking a beer, or are you sitting there doing shots and beer bongs and keg stands? That would obviously have a different type of absorption rate.
Just when you thought this trial was already at peak Walmart, she's like beer bongs and keg stands.
Whether or not you have food in your stomach could matter as well. In most social drinking settings, we would assume that the alcohol is absorbed within the first 20 minutes. But depending on other factors that can contribute, in most cases, alcohol would be totally absorbed within an hour.
And what about an elimination rate?
Elimination rates can vary from person to person. Studies have shown that there is an average elimination rate of 0.015 grams per 100 milliliters per hour.
When you said 0.015 grams per 100 milliliters, there's a legal limit to drive in Wisconsin, right?
Yes.
And that's at grams per 100 milliliters?
Correct.
Okay. And you said the 0.015 is the average?
Average, yes.
And the report Exhibit 73, is that reviewed by anybody?
Yes, it is reviewed by another analyst that is authorized in the discipline, and it is also reviewed by somebody in generally management. So in this case, who is our lab director now, but at the time she was the lab supervisor.
And what's the purpose behind somebody else reviewing it?
The technical review by another analyst is to make sure that all policies and procedures were followed, that all of the controls pass, that there was no question about the validity of the analysis. The administrative review looks more for typos and transcription errors, things like that, just to help make sure that everything that we're putting on a report is true and accurate.
And you said that did occur in this case?
Yes, it did.
And any errors or anything detected?
Not that I'm aware of.
And that Exhibit 73 is a fair and accurate copy of the report you prepared?
Yes, it is.
Your Honor, at this time, I'd move for the admission of Exhibit 73.
No objection.
Received.
And I have no further questions.
Actually, before you proceed, Ms. Isherwood, ma'am, would you spell your name for the record, please?
Billie, Billie, Robbins, Robbins.
Thank you. You may proceed, Ms. Isherwood.
Thank you. Can you tell from this test if there was any alcohol or ethanol in Mr. Zielinski's system at 9:30 or 10 o'clock on October 19th?
This test is specifically for what was in the blood at 1:33 when the blood was drawn.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Redirect.
You testified regarding the average elimination rate. If there was a certain level of ethanol in that blood prior to 133, would you be able to make some determinations about that?
It is possible that there was alcohol consumed earlier, but it had already been eliminated by the time of my testing.
And so at, let's say, 10 o'clock p.m., if there were alcohol, you could determine what that potential maximum amount would be for it all to have been eliminated by 1:33 a.m.?
I could.
And what sort of maximum level would you be able to see if all of it had been eliminated by 1:33?
Okay, I will. Probably tonight's thing, and I will stream, and I will probably start it closer to 6 or maybe even 5:30, since we didn't get done until like
Sorry,
11.
digging for a calculator.
She has a booze
And can you,
calculator.
while you're doing that, describe
She
to
can
the jury
math
the
on the
math that
spot?
you're using to determine that?
Okay.
I now feel incredibly dumb, but I can't math on the spot.
So the starting time is 10:30,
Let's say 10 o'clock
10
p.m.
o'clock.
Let's just all sit here and bask in her doing like mathematical equations.
So first I'm determining the amount of time elapsed. So from 10 o'clock to 1:33 in the morning, that would be about 3 hours and 33 minutes.
You know what? I have sticky pads. I will write it down. I usually have a notepad out when I'm doing these trials.
So that would be about 3.55 hours. If I take 3.55 hours times the average elimination rate of a 0.015, at 10 o'clock, a individual with an average elimination rate could have been at a 0.053 and still be eliminated at 1:33.
And if it were higher than that, you would expect, at least potentially, to discover ethanol in their system at 1:33 a.m.
Correct.
And 0.053 is under the legal limit to drive in Wisconsin.
Correct.
I have nothing further.
Ms. Isherwood,
I have nothing.
you may step down, ma'am. I assume Ms. Robbins is released?
Yes.
Yes.
You are released. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
And at this time, the defense would call Stephanie Restituyo.
Stephanie, y'all are. Wisconsin is killing me with these names, like our normal names that we're spelling interestingly so we can be more clever when you're really just being a dick to your kid. I mean, if you're Gaelic, I understand that. If you're Welsh, I understand that. If you're Norwegian, I
Raise
understand
your
that.
right hand and state your name for the record.
Stephanie Restituyo.
Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
You may be seated.
Thank you.
And I have your remind you to talk to yourself note.
Good morning. Can
Yeah.
you please state your name or spell your name for the record?
Sure. My name is Stephanie Restituyo. It is spelled StephannyRestituyo.
And how are you employed?
Currently, I am employed as a senior toxicologist at the crime lab in Madison.
And how long have you been employed there?
I have been employed there for approximately 3.5 years, or since November 2019.
What sort of education did you complete to be able to work there?
Well, I received a bachelor's in forensic toxicology from John Jay College of Criminal Justice. I have prior work experience as a laboratory technician in a toxicology lab for the medical examiner's office in Newark, New Jersey. And on arriving to the crime lab, I underwent a training program of approximately a year to a year and a half in order to be authorized to perform all of my duties today.
And have you completed any additional education or training?
Since I have been at the crime lab, I also do attend continuing education courses to facilitate just knowing what is going on in the field currently and to stay up to date.
And were you in that position on June 3rd of 2021?
Yes, I was.
And how were you involved in this case?
I performed the drug testing for this case.
And what's involved in drug testing?
Well, initially we begin with screening techniques, and based on those screening techniques, we will then have what we call presumptive positives, which we will then go on to actually confirm. So typically the way that a drug sample is tested is that it is extracted and then analyzed on instrumentation to obtain the data.
And what sort of drugs do you test for?
We test for a pretty wide variety of drugs. We have what is called an ELISA panel, as well as a general drug analysis. The ELISA panel has 10 different drug classes and drugs, some of them restricted controlled substances, and as well as some prescription drugs. And the general drug analysis will generally see prescription drugs. So there's quite a variety of drugs that we do test for.
Do you know specific drugs that you test for?
Yes,
I
but it would
have
be
no
quite the
idea.
list.
Okay. What about on that? I think you said Alyssa or Eliza? test?
ELISA. So ELISA is a screening technique. Off the top of my head, the classes that are screened for on ELISA are amphetamines, methamphetamines, cocaine, opioids, cannabinoids, benzodiazepines, ketamine, buprenorphine, zolpidem, and I'm sorry, there is one more that I am currently blanking on. I do, however, have the case information with me. With that information, I can always look at it to finish
She
answering
has
the
more of a
question.
That's
personality than
okay.
the last one. I'll give
And
you
you
that,
said
Indigo.
cannabinoids, that's THC or marijuana?
Yes, it targets marijuana metabolites. That's what that assay specifically does.
And when you
Well,
perform these tests, do you prepare any sort of report?
Yes, when we are done testing a sample, we do what is called a batch workup that will go through technical review. When technical review is completed and testing has been completed, whoever is charged with the responsibility will write the report. And then again, that report will also undergo a series of technical reviews before it leaves the door.
And what's all involved in a technical review?
A technical review is basically where one of my peers will take the data that I have worked up and they will work it up as though they had ran those cases themselves. And the point of that is to check to make sure that
Had run.
everything in the batch is meeting all of the quality criteria put forth in our manual and that there are no corrections that need to be made.
And you prepared a report in this case?
I did prepare the report in this case.
I'm handing you what's been marked Exhibit 74. Do you recognize that?
I do recognize it.
And what is that?
This is a confidential report of laboratory findings from the Madison Crime Lab authored by myself.
And is that the results from the blood that you tested in this case?
Yes, it is.
And when was that, or does the report indicate when the blood was drawn?
The report indicates that the blood was drawn on October 20th, 2020 at 01:33 hours.
So 1:33 a.m.?
Yes.
Okay. And what tests specifically did you run on that blood sample?
I specifically ran an ELISA, which is a screening technique, as well as a general drug analysis, which is also kind of like a screening technique.
Okay, let's start with the ELISA test. And on that report, it indicates all the drugs that you can detect under the ELISA. Is there an additional one that you didn't mention
We
before
need you
that it
functional.
tests for?
Fentanyl, did I say? I can read it out from the bottom of the report. So this procedure targets amphetamines, methamphetamines, cocaine, metabolites, opiates, benzodiazepines, cannabinoids, fentanyl, buprenorphine, ketamine, and zolpidem.
And what was the result of that test or screening on the blood sample you tested in this case?
There was nothing detected in this sample.
And you testified that there was an additional general screening?
Yes, this is the general drug analysis by gas chromatography and mass spectrometry.
And what drugs would that potentially identify?
This screening, this general
I
drug
really do like
analysis
it.
mostly looks for over-the-counter and prescription drugs.
And was there any drugs identified in the blood that you tested for this case?
I identified cotinine, which is a metabolite of nicotine, and caffeine.
Any other drugs detected?
He
I
had
did not
some.
detect any
He
other
had a
drugs in this
monster.
sample.
And that report, Exhibit 74, is a fair and accurate copy of your report?
Yes.
At this time, I'd move for the admission of Exhibit 74.
No objection.
74 is received.
And I have no further questions.
Ross?
How do you spell Eliza?
ELISA.
S-A.
Hey, I'd be proud of
Thank you. I
myself.
don't have any other questions.
You may step down.
Your Honor, I do have a follow-up question.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. I think you might have said it, I'm not sure. Whose blood did you test?
According to the report, it says here William C. Zelensky.
Okay. Nothing further.
So this is actually going very well. I do like that this defense attorney is actually, it looks like they might break for lunch. So I might try to do a short, kind of get half of the afternoon done this afternoon and then a shorter evening stream. But yeah, I like this defense. This defense is bringing up that he was not impaired, that he was clear thinking. Now, I don't know if that's going to be a double-edged sword that the prosecution is going to say, "Look, this other guy, he was on meth. He didn't have, control of his faculties, but you were in your right mind."
Now you may step down. I take it she's released.
Yes.
Yes.
You're free to go. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. It seems like the first question you would ask if you're asking someone about blood work, but who am I to judge?
Your Honor, may
You may.
All right. So it looks like they go into lunch break time. And I'm gonna watch to see how long they say lunch break is actually going to be. And then I might come back with them. I do have an eye appointment at 2:45, so I may do from 3 to 5, do a little bit of a
Early lunch
stream.
today.
David, we must find out what chair he has because I want one now. I very much want one. The judge is a very
Please
tall,
be seated. We
very
are on the record outside the presence of the jury.
large man.
Counsel, you indicated your next witness is not available until 1 because of a child care issue.
Correct. It is a husband and a wife, and so they weren't able to be here together without childcare.
Okay, so we will recess till 1 then.
Okay, so I guess I will.
I take it there's nothing else to talk about now.
I don't believe so.
No.
All right, thank you, everyone.
Judge is like, I need to get out this dress thing. It's killing. It's hot in here. I know, but I want that chair now. I know. All I hear is num 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 num. Farrell, you are free to clip that. But guys, I am going to let you go. I am going to make a late breakfast for lunch for my 11-year-old now. He is very excited. He's 11 and he is the oldest brother. So that is awesome. I will see you guys in the afternoon, probably after my eye appointment, to do a short little stream to try to make sure that I don't stay up until 11 tonight with our kind of nightly fun chat. So I will see you all later. Have a good day. If I don't see you again and you're on the rewatch crew, thanks for rewatching. Bye, guys.